But yeah, Novak Djokovic defeating Flavio Cobolli. Let's talk about the match at first. Um, yeah, I mean, the first set, Novak definitely didn't need to drop it. He was 5-3. He had a set point before the breaker. Flavio was able to fight, but as it turns out, it was kind of the most he could have done today, probably.
Yeah, I think he kind of threw in everything he had in the first set, and he got the set there, and then he also fought really hard in the third. Djokovic obviously winning those 7 games in a row, raising his game, and then it looked like the match was going to be over. But then Kabuli really, dug in and managed to hold all the way to 5-4, and then Djokovic just did such a good job, just kind of maneuvering the ball around the court, getting it deep to Flavio's backhand, getting the short balls, serving great, also really good spot serving. A couple of really good return games when he needed them. It wasn't always on, let's say, the return today, but in some big moments in the sets that he won, especially through third and fourth, it came up big for him. And then obviously you have that scare now at the end. He won the last 3 games here in the fourth, but uh, that fall, I'm sure he'll get asked about it and all that. But it looks okay. It looks fine. It looks like he's moving on. He's got a day off, and now he takes on Sinner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend to be a doctor or anything like that, but I would be surprised if this is still hampering him on Friday. It just looked like, he slipped, obviously extended his muscle there or whatever, but didn't seem like it would be the most like long-term issue in the world. Yeah, in terms of the match, Flavio definitely fought well, got that first set with some very clutch player here because I started watching in the second. From when I started watching, I think in sets 3 and 4, he had a lot going against him, both like the overall tiredness from the event and just Djokovic, I think, to a different level, having these 7 straight games in a row against him as well. And yet he kept fighting all the time, was able to, still get a lot of good work on the serve and then +1 forehand usually. That was kind of his main thing. I think he was also doing well to try to conserve some energy, by just going a little bit more aggressively on return at some point. And, it didn't really work out in the end, obviously, but he kept it pretty interesting in sets 3 and 4, despite kind of Djokovic having all that momentum and seemingly just being able to close the match, without any problems. But actually, Flavio was able to make it interesting all the way until the end. So I think it was a great effort. Obviously, an amazing tournament for him. But Novak is moving on, and we got let's say the 4 most high-profile players in the event in the semifinals. Of course, I guess you could compare Draper to Fritz and everything, but the players that were in these quarters. And obviously, the one that we have to talk about here is going to be Djokovic against Sinner. Once more, Roland Garros semifinal. Does he have a better shot than at Roland Garros? Is this the moment where, is this the tournament where Djokovic can still beat Sinner and then probably Alcaraz in the final?
Yeah, I think most people and also Djokovic himself have been saying that these last couple of weeks that if it's going to happen for him, the one more major title, it's going to happen here at Wimbledon, where he's made 6 finals in a row. He's still such a great grass court player. He still has all the, kind of complete harness his whole toolbox that he's worked on, with the spot serving and the just the ability to change directions, the movement as well. Like just he has so much of those intangibles, let's say. So let's see if that comes into play against Sinner, who's still, I would say, movement wise, it's still maybe his worst surface, but it's not, doesn't mean much because obviously he's still world number one and he's, just getting better as the tournament goes on now. And he has had the upper hand and he has beaten Djokovic the last 4 times. But at Wimbledon, obviously, it's been different. That's where Djokovic can maybe draw on some of those past meetings, but not so much because obviously Sinner was a different player. But there's still if it's going to be closer, basically, I mean, it's going to be closer here. Like it's going to be this is where he would have a better chance than at Roland Garros, where he was just outplayed really at his own game.
Yeah, I think obviously grass, any matchup really should make the margins slimmer, and Djokovic needs
Yeah.
that right now against Jannik. Serve return kind of needs to make this game about, yeah, maybe his amazing spot serving and just being very aggressive. On the other hand, if you think of their matchup like Shanghai, for example, it might have been close theoretically in terms of the points, but it still always had that feeling on a quick court that Yannick is, just going to dominate the tiebreak. And if somebody is breaking, then it's him. That's what it was in the end. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying since the start of the year that to me Wimbledon is still the prime chance for Novak to do something against these guys. He can definitely get to tie breaks against Jannik. Maybe he can even do something more. If Jannik didn't have that match against Dimitrov, like it's so wild that he's even in this tournament still
Yeah,
after going down 2 sets and struggling physically there. If he didn't have that, I would be very willing to just say I don't know if I see it. I think that Jannik is just going to win. Let's say in 2 tie breaks, for example. But because of that, I guess there's a little bit more doubt in my mind. Novak is
yeah,
obviously like a master of playing matchups and just kind of figuring stuff out and being able to adjust. Maybe he does something special. We said it at Roland Garros, I think, when we were previewing their semi, that the way that Djokovic played against Zverev just kind of made you think he will have some ideas for Sinner. And whereas maybe we didn't see it in the opener of their Paris clash, when he was just trying to beat Jannik the exact same way like he did Zverev, the next two are very competitive. He should have won one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just trust Novak's spirit and Novak's experience to make it competitive, but winning it is difficult.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think winning it is difficult, but I can see him using all of his experience, all of the information he probably got from the last 2 sets, even though it's clay. Just also knowing that the footing is a little bit more, it's not true like the Shanghai courts in terms of the speed and all that. So maybe he needs just 2 or 3 4 points a set to go in his favor, and there's a better chance of it going his favor on grass, which is more of an equalizer than,
Yeah,
let's say, the clay court conditions that they had that day, where it was also kind of windy and Djokovic was using the drop shot a lot, which didn't work a ton because Sinner is just so much more capable of dealing with them than Zverev was. And but then they got into those really heavy baseline exchanges, and then it was tough for Djokovic to use the extra intangibles and variety because he was just getting overpowered. Whereas on grass, I think it'll be different. It'll be more first strike tennis. It'll be more quicker service games. It'll be more shorter points. And that's where Djokovic has to nudge ahead. He has to win those rallies below 5 shots. He has to dominate with the serve. He has to dominate with the forehand. He has to dominate with the first volley. He has to use the serve and volley. He has to mix it up a lot. So we'll see if he's able to do that consistently. But winning 3 sets is going to be extremely difficult. But seeing the way Sinner has looked, Djokovic, I guess, has a better shot here. Maybe he can. Maybe if it goes 5, maybe he can use his experience even then. If the match is not so physical by then, so there is like more of a path for Djokovic to win this than at RG, I guess. But
yeah. I
Sinner
liked
still
something
does
you
make the
said
favorite.
there about the true bounce in Shanghai. I know I've been pushing the agenda that like Sinner is now good on all surfaces. Like people saying that he's like not that good on grass, clay. No, that's just wrong. But on the other hand, yeah, it's easier here to make him like uncomfortable, get him out of balance than it
Yeah,
would be on a court like Shanghai. So yeah, I don't hate that call. That it is also for that reason just slightly more favorable for Novak because he has all that grass court experience that the youngsters are lacking, and he is basically the best ever in terms of moving on this surface. Jane, yes, Djokovic fell 2 points away from the match. We are yet to know how serious it is. It looked painful, but it also looked like something that was probably just like a little bit of a stretch of his leg, and after that he played 2 good points. Probably nothing, but we cannot exclude the possibility that he will be hampered by it. I mean, we just don't really have an idea. Looked like it shouldn't be a factor on Friday, but we can only guess.
and maybe we'll know more as the day off, or some information will come out later. But I don't know. I think he'll be
Yeah,
ready to
maybe
go
we'll
on
have just one more
Friday.
day of that saga, of Djokovic trying to, Djokovic canceling his practice. And just like with Sinner
Right.
yesterday, we're going to have all these stories.
Yeah, and then he practices indoors, and then and then actually like the morning of he's ready to go, and then yeah. What if it would be really funny if it was the exact same sequence? But yeah, the reality is we just don't know. We're not I'm not gonna pretend like I do. So
Yeah, so I don't know if you have anything more to add.
yeah. But if you were to give,
Probably
let's
not.
say, a percentage chance for Djokovic, what would you give it here? Is it like
Okay.
60-40 for Yannick? Or is it
I
like
think it's a bit more lopsided than this. Yeah.
because at Roland Garros it very much felt like it was 70-30 or something, but I think here it's maybe a little closer. I'll go 60-40. I think Djokovic, like on the surface on grass, too much pedigree, so I have to respect it.
I will go slightly more lopsided. Let's say, I don't know, 62-38.
That's hardly
If we're
much
playing a
difference.
game of higher or lower, I would say the chances of Sinner are slightly higher than what you said, but yeah, it's barely anything. I guess Alcaraz has the better chance to make the final than Sinner, right? It's just an easier
Yeah,
opponent.
of course. Easier opponent. Yeah. So
Lots of
yeah,
speculation to come, indeed, Sean, regardless of if it's even worth doing the speculation, but yeah, it is. Sinner looked fine. Yeah, fine-ish. I mean, he grabbed his elbow a little bit sometimes, but definitely didn't impact his play whatsoever.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
But yeah, Novak Djokovic defeating Flavio Cobolli. Let's talk about the match at first. Yeah, I mean, the first set, Novak definitely didn't need to drop it. He was 5-3. He had a set point before the breaker. Flavio was able to fight, but as it turns out, it was kind of the most he could have done today, probably.
yeah. I think he kind of threw in everything he had in the first set, and he got the set there, and then he also fought really hard in the third. Djokovic obviously winning those 7 games in a row, raising his game, and then it looked like the match was going to be over. But then Kabuli really, dug in and managed to hold all the way to 5-4, and then Djokovic just did such a good job, just kind of maneuvering the ball around the court, getting it deep to Flavio's backhand, getting the short balls, serving great, also really good spot serving. A couple of really good return games when he needed them. It wasn't always on, let's say, the return today, but in some big moments in the sets that he won, especially through third and fourth, it came up big for him. And then obviously you have that scare now at the end. He won the last 3 games here in the fourth, but that fall, I'm sure he'll get asked about it and all that. But it looks okay. It looks fine. It looks like he's moving on. He's got a day off, and now he takes on Sinner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend to be a doctor or anything like that, but I would be surprised if this is still hampering him on Friday. It just looked like, he slipped. Obviously extended his muscle there or whatever, but didn't seem like it would be the most like long-term issue in the world. Yeah, in terms of the match, Flavio definitely fought well, got that first set with some very clutch player here because I started watching in the second. From when I started watching, I think in sets 3 and 4, he had a lot going against him, both like the overall tiredness from the event and just Djokovic, I think, to a different level, having these 7 straight games in a row against him as well. And yet he kept fighting all the time, was able to, still get a lot of good work on the serve and then +1 forehand usually. That was kind of his main thing. I think he was also doing well to try to conserve some energy, by just going a little bit more aggressively on return at some point. And, it didn't really work out in the end, obviously, but he kept it pretty interesting in sets 3 and 4, despite kind of Djokovic having all that momentum and seemingly just being able to close the match, without any problems. But actually, Flavio was able to make it interesting all the way until the end. So I think it was a great effort. Obviously, an amazing tournament for him. But Novak is moving on, and we got let's say the 4 most high-profile players in the event in the semifinals. Of course, I guess you could compare Draper to Fritz and everything, but the players that were in these quarters. And obviously, the one that we have to talk about here is going to be Djokovic against Sinner. Once more, Roland Garros semifinal. Does he have a better shot than at Roland Garros? Is this the tournament where Djokovic can still beat Sinner and then probably Alcaraz in the final?
Yeah, I think most people and also Djokovic himself have been saying that these last couple of weeks that if it's going to happen for him, the one more major title, it's going to happen here at Wimbledon, where he's made 6 finals in a row. He's still such a great grass court player. He still has all the, kind of complete harness to his whole toolbox that he's worked on, with the spot serving and the just the ability to change directions, the movement as well. Like just, he has so much of those intangibles, let's say. So let's see if that comes into play against Sinner, who's still, I would say movement wise, it's still maybe his worst surface, but it's not, doesn't mean much because obviously he's still world number one and he's, just getting better as the tournament goes on now. And he has had the upper hand. And he has beaten Djokovic the last 4 times. But at Wimbledon, obviously, it's been different. That's where Djokovic can maybe draw on some of those past meetings, but not so much because obviously Sinner was a different player. But there's still if it's going to be closer, basically, I mean, it's going to be closer here. Like it's going to be. This is where he would have a better chance than at Roland Garros, where he was just outplayed really at his own game.
Yeah, I think obviously grass, any matchup really, it should make the margins slimmer, and Djokovic needs that right now against Jannik. Serve return kind of needs to make this game about, maybe his amazing spot serving and just being very aggressive. On the other hand, if you think of their matchup like Shanghai, for example, it might have been close theoretically in terms of the points, but it still always had that feeling on a quick court that Jannik is, just going to dominate the tiebreak. And if somebody is breaking, then it's him. That's what it was in the end. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying since the start of the year that to me, Wimbledon is still the prime chance for Novak to do something against these guys. He can definitely get to tiebreaks against Jannik. Maybe he can even do something more. If Jannik didn't have that match against Dimitrov, like it's so wild that he's even in this tournament still after going down 2 sets and struggling physically there. If he didn't have that, I would be very willing to just say, I don't know if I see it. I think that Jannik is just going to win, let's say in 2 tie breaks, for example. But because of that, I guess there's a little bit more doubt in my mind. Novak is obviously like a master of playing matchups and just kind of figuring stuff out and being able to adjust. Maybe he does something special. We said it at Roland Garros, I think, when we were previewing their semi, that the way that Djokovic played against Zverev just kind of made you think he will have some ideas for Sinner. And whereas maybe we didn't see it in the opener of their Paris clash, when he was just trying to beat Jannik the exact same way like he did Zverev, the next 2 are very competitive. He should have won one of them. Yeah, I guess I just trust Novak's spirit and Novak's experience to make it competitive, but winning it is difficult.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think winning it is difficult, but I can see him using all of his experience, all of the information he probably got from the last 2 sets, even though it's clay. Just also knowing that the footing is a little bit more, it's not true like the Shanghai courts in terms of the speed and all that. So maybe he needs just 2 or 3, 4 points a set to go in his favor, and there's a better chance of it going in his favor on grass, which is more of an equalizer than, let's say, the clay court conditions that they had that day, where it was also kind of windy and Djokovic was using the drop shot a lot, which didn't work a ton because Sinner is just so much more capable of dealing with them than Zverev was. And but then they got into those really heavy baseline exchanges, and then it was tough for Djokovic to use the extra intangibles and variety because he was just getting overpowered. Whereas on grass, I think it'll be different. It'll be more first strike tennis. It'll be more quicker service games. It'll be more shorter points. And that's where Djokovic has to nudge ahead. He has to win those rallies below 5 shots. He has to dominate with the serve. He has to dominate with the forehand. He has to dominate with the first volley. He has to use the serve and volley. He has to mix it up a lot. So we'll see if he's able to do that consistently. But winning 3 sets is going to be extremely difficult. But, seeing the way Sinner has looked, Djokovic, I guess, has a better shot here. Maybe if it goes 5, maybe he can use his experience even then, if the match is not so physical by then. So there is like more of a path for Djokovic to win this than at RG, I guess. But
I liked something you said there about the true bounce in Shanghai. I know I've been pushing the agenda that like Sinner is now good on all surfaces. Like people saying that he's like not that good on grass, clay. No, that's just wrong. But on the other hand, it's easier here to make him like uncomfortable, get him out of balance than it would be on a court like Shanghai. So I don't hate that call that it is also for that reason just slightly more favorable for Novak, because he has all that grass court experience that the youngsters are lacking, and he is, basically the best ever in terms of moving on this surface. Yes, Djokovic fell 2 points away from the match. We are yet to know, how serious it is. It looked painful, but it also looked like something that was probably just like a little bit of a stretch of his leg, and after that he played 2 good points. Probably nothing, but we cannot exclude the possibility that he will be hampered by it. I mean, we just don't really have an idea. Looked like it shouldn't be a factor on Friday, but we can only guess.
And maybe we'll know more as the day off, or some information will come out later. But I don't know. I think he'll be ready
maybe
to
we'll
go.
have just one more day of that saga, of Djokovic trying to Djokovic canceling his practice, and just like with Sinner yesterday, we're gonna have all these stories.
Yeah, and then he practices indoors, and then and then actually like the morning of he's ready to go, and then But if it would be really funny if it was the exact same sequence. But yeah, the reality is we just don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I do. So
yeah, so I don't know if you have anything more to add.
yeah. But if you were to give,
Probably
let's say, a percentage chance for Djokovic, what would you give it here? Is it like 60-40 for Jannik? Or is it
I think it's a bit more lopsided than this, yeah.
Because at Roland Garros it very much felt like, it was 70-30 or something, but I think here it's maybe a little closer. I'll go 60-40. I think Djokovic, like on the surface on grass, too much pedigree. So I have to respect it.
I will go slightly more lopsided. Let's say, I don't know, 62-38.
That's hardly
if we're
much
playing
difference.
a game of higher or lower, I would say the chances of Sinner are slightly higher than what you said, but yeah, it's barely anything. I guess Alcaraz has the better chance to make the final than Sinner, right? It's just an easier opponent.
Of course. Easier opponent, yeah. So
lots of speculation to come, indeed, Sean, regardless of if it's even worth doing the speculation, but yeah, it is. Sinner looked fine. Yeah, fine-ish. I mean, he grabbed his elbow a little bit sometimes, but definitely didn't impact his play whatsoever.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
But yeah. Novak Djokovic defeating Flavio Cobolli. Novak definitely didn't need to drop it to fight, but as it turns out, it was kind of the most he could have done today, probably.
Yeah, I think he kind of threw in everything he had in the first set, and he got the set there, and then he also fought really hard in the third. Djokovic obviously winning those 7 games in a row, raising his game, and then it looked like the match was going to be over. But then Cobolli really, dug in and managed to hold all the way to 5-4, and then Djokovic just did such a good job, just kind of maneuvering the ball around the court, getting it deep to Flavio's backhand, getting the short balls, serving great also, really good spot serving. A couple of really good return games when he needed them. It wasn't always on, let's say, the return today, but in some big moments in the sets that he won, especially through third and fourth, it came up big for him. And then obviously you have that scare now at the end. He won the last 3 games here in the fourth, but that fall, I'm sure he'll get asked about it and all that, but it looks okay. It looks fine. It looks like he's moving on. He's got a day off, and now he takes on Sinner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend to be a doctor or anything like that, but I would be surprised if this is still hampering him on Friday. It just looked like, he slipped. Obviously extended his muscle there or whatever, but didn't seem like it would be the most like long-term issue in the world. Yeah, in terms of the match, Flavio definitely fought well, got that first set with some very clutch player here because I started watching in the second. From when I started watching, I think in sets 3 and 4, he had a lot going against him, both like the overall tiredness from the event and just Djokovic, I think, to a different level, having these 7 straight games in a row against him as well. And yet he kept fighting all the time, was able to, still get a lot of good work on the serve and then plus on forehand. Usually that was kind of his main thing. I think he was also doing well to try to conserve some energy, by just going a little bit more aggressively on return at some point. And well, it didn't really work out in the end, obviously, but he kept it pretty interesting in sets 3 and 4, despite kind of Djokovic having all that momentum and seemingly just being able to close the match, without any problems. But actually, Flavio was able to make it interesting all the way until the end. So I think it was a great effort. Obviously, an amazing tournament for him. But Novak is moving on, and we got let's say the 4 most high-profile players in the event in the semifinals. Of course, I guess you could compare Draper to Fritz and everything, but the players that were in these quarters. And obviously, the one that we have to talk about here is going to be Djokovic against Sinner. Once more, Roland Garros semifinal. Does he have a better shot than at Roland Garros? Is this the moment where, is this the tournament where Djokovic can still beat Sinner and then probably Alcaraz in the final?
Yeah, I think most people and also Djokovic himself have been saying that these last couple of weeks that if it's going to happen for him, the one more major title, it's going to happen here at Wimbledon, where he's made 6 finals in a row. He's still such a great grass court player. He still has all the, kind of complete harness to his whole toolbox that he's worked on, with the spot serving and the just the ability to change directions, the movement as well. Like just he has so much of those intangibles, let's say. So let's see if that comes into play against Sinner, who's still, I would say, movement wise, it's still maybe his worst surface, but it's not, doesn't mean much because obviously he's still world number one and he's, just getting better as the tournament goes on now. And he has had the upper hand and he has beaten Djokovic the last 4 times. But at Wimbledon, obviously, it's been different. That's where Djokovic can maybe draw on some of those past meetings, but not so much because obviously Sinner was a different player. But there's still if it's going to be closer, basically, I mean, it's going to be closer here. Like it's going to be, this is where he would have a better chance than at Roland Garros, where he was just outplayed really at his own game.
Yeah, I think obviously grass, any matchup really should make the margins slimmer, and Djokovic needs that right now against Jannik. Serve return kind of needs to make this game about, maybe his amazing spot serving and just being very aggressive. On the other hand, if you think of their matchup like Shanghai, for example, it might have been close theoretically in terms of the points, but it still always had that feeling on a quick court that Jannik is, just going to dominate the tiebreak. And if somebody is breaking, then it's him. That's what it was in the end. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying since the start of the year that to me, Wimbledon is still the prime chance for Novak to do something against these guys. He can definitely get to tie breaks against Jannik. Maybe he can even do something more. If Jannik didn't have that match against Dimitrov, like it's so wild that he's even in this tournament still after going down 2 sets and struggling physically there. If he didn't have that, I would be very willing to just say, I don't know if I see it. I think that Jannik is just going to win, let's say in 2 tie breaks, for example. But because of that, I guess there's a little bit more doubt in my mind. Novak is obviously like a master of playing matchups and just kind of figuring stuff out and being able to adjust. Maybe he does something special. We said it at Roland Garros, I think, when we were previewing their semi, that the way that Djokovic played against Zverev just kind of made you think he will have some ideas for Sinner. And whereas maybe we didn't see it in the opener of their Paris clash, when he was just trying to beat Jannik the exact same way like he did Zverev, the next 2 are very competitive. He should have won one of them. Yeah, I guess I just trust Novak's spirit and Novak's experience to make it competitive, but winning it is difficult.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think winning it is difficult, but I can see him using all of his experience, all of the information he probably got from the last two sets, even though it's clay. Just also knowing that the footing is a little bit more, it's not true like the Shanghai courts in terms of the speed and all that. So maybe, he needs just 2, 3, 4 points a set to go in his favor, and there's a better chance of it going his favor on grass, which is more of an equalizer than,
Yeah.
let's say, the clay court conditions that they had that day, where it was also kind of windy and Djokovic was using the drop shot a lot, which didn't work a ton because Sinner's just so much more capable of dealing with them than Zverev was. And but then they got into those really heavy baseline exchanges, and then it was tough for Djokovic to use the extra intangibles and variety because he was just getting overpowered. Whereas on grass, I think it'll be different. It'll be more first strike tennis. It'll be more quicker service games. It'll be more shorter points. And that's where Djokovic has to nudge ahead. He has to win those rallies below 5 shots. He has to dominate with the serve. He has to dominate with the forehand. He has to dominate with the first volley. He has to use the serve and volley. He has to mix it up a lot. So we'll see if he's able to do that consistently. But winning 3 sets is going to be extremely difficult. But seeing the way Sinner has looked, Djokovic, I guess, has a better shot here. Maybe he can. Maybe if it goes 5, maybe he can use his experience even then. If the match is not so physical by then, so there is like more of a path for Djokovic to win this than at RG, I guess. But
Yeah, I
Sinner
liked
still
something
does
you
make the
said
favorite.
there about the true bounce in Shanghai. I know I've been pushing the agenda that like Sinner is now good on all surfaces. Like people saying that he's like not that good on grass, clay. No, that's just wrong. But on the other hand, yeah, it's easier here to make him like uncomfortable, get him out of balance than it
Yeah,
would be on a court like Shanghai. So yeah, I don't hate that call. That it is also for that reason just slightly more favorable for Novak because he has all that grass court experience that the youngsters are lacking, and he is, basically the best ever in terms of moving on this surface. Jane, yes, Djokovic fell 2 points away from the match. We are yet to know, how serious it is. It looked painful, but it also looked like something that was probably just like a little bit of a stretch of his leg, and after that he played 2 good points. Probably nothing, but we cannot exclude the possibility that he will be hampered by it. I mean, we just don't really have an idea. Looked like it shouldn't be a factor on Friday, but we can only guess.
and maybe we'll know more as the day off, or some information will come out. I don't know. I think he'll be
Yeah,
ready to
maybe
go
we'll
on
have just one more day of that saga, of Djokovic trying to, Djokovic canceling his practice. And just like with Sinner
Right.
yesterday, we're going to have all these stories.
Yeah, and then he practices indoors, and then and then actually like the morning of, he's ready to go, and then yeah. But if it would be really funny if it was the exact same sequence, but yeah, the reality is we just don't know. We're not going to pretend like I do. So
Yeah, so I don't know if you have anything more to add.
yeah. But if you were to give,
Probably
let's
not.
say, a percentage chance for Djokovic, what would you give it here? Is it like 60
Okay.
40 for Yannick? Or is it
I
like,
think it's a bit more lopsided than this. Yeah.
because at Roland Garros it very much felt like, it was 70-30 or something, but I think here it's maybe a little closer. I'll go 60 40. I think Djokovic, like, on the surface on grass, too much pedigree. So I have to respect it.
I will go slightly more lopsided. Let's say, I don't know, 62-38.
That's hardly
If we're
much
playing a
difference.
game of higher or lower, I would say the chances of Sinner are slightly higher than what you said, but yeah, it's barely anything. I guess Alcaraz has the better chance to make the final than Sinner, right? It's just an easier
Yeah,
opponent.
of course. Easier. So
Lots of
yeah.
speculation to come, indeed, Sean, regardless of if it's even worth doing the speculation, but yeah, it is. Sinner looked fine. Yeah, fine-ish. I mean, he grabbed his elbow a little bit sometimes, but definitely didn't impact his play whatsoever.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button.
Ready,
Don't forget to
play.
But yeah, Novak Djokovic defeating Flavio Cobolli. Let's talk about the match at first. Yeah, I mean, the first set, Novak definitely didn't need to drop it. He was 5-3. He had a set point before the breaker. Flavio was able to fight, but as it turns out, it was kind of the most he could have done today, probably.
Yeah, I think he kind of threw in everything he had in the first set, and he got the set there, and then he also fought really hard in the third. Djokovic obviously winning those 7 games in a row, raising his game, and then it looked like the match was going to be over. But then Kabuli really, dug in and managed to hold all the way to 5-4, and then Djokovic just did such a good job, just kind of maneuvering the ball around the court, getting it deep to Flavio's backhand, getting the short balls, serving great, also really good spot serving. A couple of really good return games when he needed them. It wasn't always on, let's say, the return today, but in some big moments in the sets that he won, especially through third and fourth, it came up big for him. And then obviously you have that scare now at the end. He won the last 3 games here in the fourth, but that fall, I'm sure he'll get asked about it and all that, but it looks okay. It looks fine. It looks like he's moving on. He's got a day off, and now he takes on Sinner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend to be a doctor or anything like that, but I would be surprised if this is still hampering him on Friday. It just looked like, he slipped, obviously extended his muscle there or whatever, but didn't seem like it would be the most long-term issue in the world. Yeah, in terms of the match, Flavio definitely fought well, got that first set with some very clutch player here because I started watching in the second. From when I started watching, I think in sets 3 and 4, he had a lot going against him, both the overall tiredness from the event and just Djokovic, I think, to a different level, having these 7 straight games in a row against him as well. And yet he kept fighting all the time, was able to, still get a lot of good work on the serve and then +1 forehand usually. That was kind of his main thing. I think he was also doing well to try to conserve some energy, by just going a little bit more aggressively on return at some point. And, it didn't really work out in the end, obviously, but he kept it pretty interesting in sets 3 and 4, despite kind of Djokovic having all that momentum and seemingly just being able to close the match, without any problems. But actually, Flavio was able to make it interesting all the way until the end. So I think it was a great effort, obviously an amazing tournament for him. But Novak is moving on, and we got let's say the 4 most high-profile players in the event in the semifinals. Of course, I guess you could compare Draper to Fritz and everything, but the players that were in these quarters. And obviously the one that we have to talk about here is going to be Djokovic against Sinner. Once more, Roland Garros semifinal. Does he have a better shot than at Roland Garros? Is this the moment is this the tournament where Djokovic can still beat Sinner and then probably Alcaraz in the final?
Yeah, I think most people, and also Djokovic himself, have been saying that these last couple of weeks that if it's going to happen for him, the one more major title, it's going to happen here at Wimbledon, where he's made 6 finals in a row. He's still such a great grass court player. He still has all the, kind of complete harness his whole toolbox that he's worked on, with the spot serving and the ability to change directions, the movement as well. He has so much of those intangibles, let's say. So let's see if that comes into play against Sinner, who's still, I would say, movement-wise, it's still maybe his worst surface, but doesn't mean much because obviously he's still world number 1 and he's, just getting better as the tournament goes on now. And he has had the upper hand. And he has beaten Djokovic the last 4 times. But at Wimbledon, obviously, it's a bit different. That's where Djokovic can maybe draw on some of those past meetings, but not so much.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take 1. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Talking Tennis. And we are just about in time for me to see Novak Djokovic win the first point of the match, which is probably about 2 or 3 points behind the scoreboard we've got up. But yes, I have just seen the Serb get underway with an unreturnable serve for a 15-love lead. Djokovic is serving first in this exciting encounter. As he follows this up with a forehand-to-forehand rally with Sinner. The Sinner goes long in. So we're now at 30-love. Yeah, this is the match of the day, let's be honest. This is the world number one against the man who is the king of centre court, or at least he was. He's certainly the most decorated player of centre court, but he's trying to regain his crown from Carlos Alcaraz, but he's got the other member of the new generation standing in his way, which is Jannik Sinner. It's a good hole to start for Novak Djokovic. He's at 40-love, and we know he's going to get this game. So that's super exciting. I mean, look, let's face it. This is quite an interesting dynamic we're dealing with because Novak Djokovic, it's fair to say, he hasn't beaten Jannik Sinner since winning the ATP finals in 2023, beating Sinner in the final. Every time they've played since, Djokovic has struggled to kind of keep up with Sinner. But the thing is, this is the third time I've played at Wimbledon, and Sinner has yet to beat Djokovic at Wimbledon. Will Gross even this rivalry back up? Because this is something that Djokovic is really good at. We've got a stat coming up saying that Djokovic and Sinner have very similar forehand quality ratings. They are the top of the semi-finalists left. Sinner might be, still coming in, not necessarily expected to be here, although he put in a fantastic performance against Ben Shelton in the quarterfinals. So what does the Italian have in his locker? Div was the first serve into the net, so not as strong a start there. So Djokovic already looking like he's serving a little bit better to start with. Big stars of the game. Clearly, probably two people who go down as too great to the game. We'll find out. Inside out forehand from center to the backhand of Djokovic is miscued, and it's out. Pretty great start already. Let's be honest. Let's have a look and see if I can get something a bit sooner. Yes, I can. We're already into a rally now between Sinner and Djokovic. It's 15-love, and Sinner has now got the next point, 30-love. So it just gives us a bit of a quicker stream to try to keep up with things. Yeah, second. Obviously, first person is Nadal to potentially beat Djokovic 5 consecutive times. That would be quite a big. That would be quite a significant moment. Puts Sinner in a very unique camp of players, but also maybe a sign of sort of Novak's age and where he's at now, that he would be regularly losing to someone at the top of the game like that. As again, Sinner draws an error with the forehand, and it's 40-love. So looking pretty good already for it to be a close match. I mean, it's likely to be serve dominated. They're both excellent on serve. They're both excellent at executing pretty much anything they put their mind to. I am expecting potentially quite a few tie breaks in this one. Whether it's straight sets or 5 sets, who could tell? Djokovic was probably unfortunate not to win a set against Sinner at Roland Garros. That went down as 3 close sets. Maybe Djokovic should have won, maybe even 2 of those sets. Sinner serves unreturned, and we are into 1 game all. So well done, Jannik Sinner, for getting us underway there. The winner of this match will play Carlos Alcaraz, who just beat Taylor Fritz. We've just been taken through that match with James and Eddie, which was, it was interesting how well Taylor managed to sort of keep up with Carlos, but it didn't look like anything other than Carlos Alcaraz winning. It possibly could have gone 5 had Fritz converted a couple of set points in the 4th, but Alcaraz kind of stole that set from him in a very similar way to the way Fritz stole the second set from Carlos Alcaraz. So it kind of evens out. Ace from Djokovic, too good. Yeah, these two guys look like they're dialed in. But whoever wins this match is going to set up a very, very intriguing final with Carlos Alcaraz, because you've either got Sincaraz again for the 3rd big tournament consecutively, and I say big, I mean Grand Slam or Masters 1000, even ATP finals in that mix. So I wouldn't count the 500 event at Queens or Halle as big. But, you know, after Rome, after Roland Garros, and then here, you know, that would be the third consecutive one. And that would be the sign of that is the rivalry that's defining men's tennis at the moment. We're into an extended rally here, backhand to backhand. Said changes direction, goes back behind Djokovic with a forehand up the line and gets the first point against serve in the match, 15-all. So you've got that possibility, but then you've also got the possibility of Djokovic and Alcaraz going head to head again for the third year in a row in the Wimbledon final. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Djokovic has won the last 2 matches against Carlos that he's played. Definitely won the Olympic final and won that quarterfinal at the Australian Open, and maybe was somewhat unfortunate to not be in a state to be able to be competitive with the knee injury in last year's Wimbledon final, given the battle that they probably would have had otherwise, and the 5-setter they went to previously. Djokovic has gone long with the backhand. It's 15-13, and suddenly he's the one looking under threat on serve. We'll keep an eye on here. Big point coming up for Novak Djokovic. He's bouncing the ball quite a bit. Nico Jarry will be disappointed. First serve into the net. And yeah, we are we're into a second serve here at 15-30. So let's see if Djokovic can convert that. Backhand from Sinner cross court to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand Sinner cross court. Backhand Djokovic on the stretch. We've got Sinner going back to the Djokovic backhand. Still trading at the moment. Still going cross court. Djokovic now changes direction up the line. Sinner's stretching for that forehand. And Djokovic goes up the line. Sinner's there. Djokovic's going to try and come in. Scoops it over the net. Sinner's going to get to it. Lob him. Djokovic having to run back. Is he going to tweener it? He is. Cannot control the tweener. And it's 15-40 and early break points for Jannik Sinner. What a rally. And at the end of the day, it's Djokovic who cannot control a tweener. Yeah, just dink over the net from Novak, and Sinner was just too quick. Maybe against other players that would have worked. Not Jannik Sinner. And now Djokovic is already in trouble, potentially going an early break down. Breakpoint coming up as Ghosty has joined us. Thanks for your compliments about the t-shirt. And yeah, hard to know who to root for. Well, maybe Djokovic is going to give you the underdog to root for. Let's have a look. He's got a second serve to try and save this first of 2 break points against his serve. Sinner waiting, trying to get ready. Dials in, eyes focused. Djokovic delivers the serve out wide. Forehand playing for serve. Backhand Djokovic. Sinner's there with his backhand up the line. Djokovic having to deal with that and goes cross court. Forehand to the forehand now. Djokovic still trading cross court. Now Sinner changes direction. Backhand Djokovic clips the net. Oh! Bounces back his side. It was a lot, and Sinner's already a break up to 1. Oh dear. 9 minutes in. And yeah, that was Sinner upping the pressure. Djokovic not being able to respond. That's very, very unusual. But that's a good question, Ghosty, about which is the better story in this match. You know, is it Jannik Sinner getting another Alcaraz Sinner match, or is it Djokovic going for a 25th Grand Slam? And the question is, yeah, who is the underdog? Is it the man who has only, quotes, won 3 Grand Slams, or is it the guy who's won 24 and you know, has age against him here? He's raging against age. He's not the world number 1 anymore. That is Jannik Sinner. But then, you know, that's the reputation, isn't it? So it's hard to know. Like, there is no true underdog in this match. But let's face it, the favourite probably is Jannik Sinner on the whole. I need to have a word with the producer about elder abuse in the live chat. So we have to move on now to Jannik Sinner serving at 2-1 with the early break on centre court. and it's an ace out wide from Sinner for 15 love. Sinner has never been past the semi-finals at Wimbledon, but he's only made the semi-finals once in 2023, losing to Novak Djokovic. And like I said, the last 2 times he's played Djokovic here, he's lost. He lost to him from 2 sets to love up in 2022 in a match that has now become notorious because that's the match that Djokovic passed on advice to Darren Cahill, who at the time was considering coaching Sinner. Unreturned serve from Sinner there, by the way. Yeah, 30 love for Sinner. Yeah, at the end of the day, we kind of thought Djokovic would work his way back into that match and then was the comfortable victor in the semi-final here 2 years ago. Sinner might be able to even things up a bit in that Wimbledon-specific head-to-head. An ace from Sinner, 40 love. He is serving perfectly right now. We've only just hit a minute in this game. This could be, not the longest match. The points have been relatively short, apart from on Djokovic, obviously that last Djokovic service game. We'll have to see what happens next. Oh, we've got a second serve coming from Sinner as the first serve is well wide of the tee. 40 love coming up for Jannik Sinner to consolidate this break. Out wide, backhand from Djokovic. The backhand of Sinner scooped up. Great return from Djokovic. That's vintage Djokovic. Forces the error from Sinner on the backhand, and it's 40-15. And that's the first point against the Jannik Sinner serve this match. Djokovic has now got his cap on, maybe to protect his eyes from the sun a bit. You'll probably see that cap coming on and off at some point. Second serve from Sinner. That first serve was well long. Again, he was going T-serve. It just wasn't finding the mark. So as soon as I mentioned that Sinner's serving really, really well, he just doesn't. Second serve delivered to the Djokovic inside out backhand winner, 40-30. Oh, it was a double fault from Jannik. Never mind. It did look close. Got Jane and Ghosty in the chat. It's like old times. I love it. And by the way, if you have any other questions you want to interact with in the live chat, you want to send me sort of your thoughts on Sinner and Djokovic and this match, or any questions about sort of the bigger picture of tennis, I'm more than happy to discuss those. We got Djokovic, block back return, inside out forehand winner from Sinner. Job done. He had time on the forehand despite being pushed back a little bit, and it's 3-1. Ghosty, I highly suspect to be Princess Catherine presenting the trophy for the simple reason that I think that she likes tennis and Prince William doesn't. And she is the patron of the All England Club. So we've got Djokovic now serving 1-3. Got some inroads on the Sinner serve in the last game. He's going to be hoping for a better service game. He seems to like this side anyway, and that's already an unreturnable serve at 15 love. All right, Snehal already taking the initiative with some questions. Who is your favorite ATP player, Nick, currently and all time? As another ace from Djokovic just bounces out of reach of Jannik Sinner, 30 love. My favorite player currently is Frances Tiafoe on the ATP side. I really root for the guy. I like his entertaining style. I also really like, I really admire his story of how he's got here into tennis. Genuinely, really sort of humble beginnings, as it were, for him. And I love his big court energy, especially when it comes out. So, I would say Frances Tiafoe is probably my favorite player to watch on the ATP tour at the moment. So we've got another ace from Djokovic to close that game out. Seems to be liking something from that side at the moment. We'll see if that he's vulnerable when they come back up to serve, having swapped sides. All-time favorite ATP player, Roger Federer. No question. Loved watching him play. I loved his style, like his kind of he was so smooth but so aggressive and so assertive on the court. But I think what also just captivated me was his capacity to invent shots. watch any Roger Federer highlight reel. It looks like he's just invented something and out the hat. And in a way, I don't think I remember seeing Djokovic on the dial doing that often. The dial sometimes, but usually Djokovic and the dial would be kind of, how on earth did they get that from that far back or that far out of court, which is so impressive, by the way. Like, insane athletes. One of my favorite tennis matches I ever watched was that 2012 Australian final between the two of them, where Djokovic won. It was they were just going absolutely hell for leather in that match. Yes, Ghosty, I do like players who play with big topspin. You should know that by now, especially given two of my preferred taste in players on the women's side. But yeah, anyone who plays, it's one of the reasons why I kind of like Carlos at the moment, because he plays with big topspin, but also he's got just this inventiveness to his game and the athleticism. So he's definitely growing on me. Let us know, who is your favorite players in the chat. Who's your favorite ATP player currently and all time? I mean, Ghosty, I always think I know the answer based on your username, to be honest. And you're already showing that you like Tien, Mute, Shapovalov, Humbert. So yeah, you've got your kind of quirky lefties. First serve out wide from Sinner. Djokovic gets it in play inside off one. Sinner's going to come in behind. Leaves the attempted pass from Djokovic as it was going well out of the court. 40 love. In terms of expectations, yes, Nahel, I think I kind of go off game style that I like rather than necessarily wanting someone to win. Don't get me wrong. When I was a teenager, I definitely backed people I thought would win all the time. I'm less bothered about that now. To be honest, I just go with who I enjoy watching the most. But maybe one day I'll come across a guy on the men's side that will kind of light up my sort of light things up for me. But in the meantime, I'll have to kind of make do with the best of both worlds on the women's side. Got an excellent rally going on here. 400-400. They're moving from side to side on the court. Djokovic tries to slice it, puts it in the net. That was a good rally there, but Djokovic was the one who just couldn't get it back. And it's 40 love. And yeah, Jannik Sinner, 3 service games, dropped 2 points. Snehel, yeah, Novak, favorite player, current and all time. Yeah, I can see why. I think that's pretty obvious. And do you know what? You're one of the cool Novak fans. Don't have anything against Novak, by the way. I think he was a breath of fresh air when he broke through. He already broke through, but kind of elevated his game in 2011. Oh, again, that's a great return from Sinner. The Djokovic shot to pick up from the mid-court, put it in the net, love 15. And already my theory that he might be struggling from a certain side of the court might be being proved right. I also think that, yeah, his ability to just sort of perfect everything in tennis is underappreciated. That being said, Sinner looks like he might be pretty close to it, but he's obviously yet to win a slam off hard courts. Oh, great return. A great serve from Novak in this. Sinner cannot control the return. It's 15-all. Never say die, Snehel. Like, don't count him out. Like, we've seen crazier breakbacks in sets of tennis. Do you remember, I mean, like most of the examples I can think of are against Novak, sorry, but first thing that comes to mind. Well, actually, no, the quarterfinal. Djokovic was up a break against Kaboli. Kaboli breaks back, steals the set on a tiebreak. And it's a great serve from Novak out wide. Sinner struggles with the return, and Djokovic finishes off with the +1 forehand off the short ball, 30-15. Djokovic looking like he's asserting himself on this side of the court now. Misses the first serve, though. So yeah, just wait to see. Like, Sinner has given him a couple of points on his serve. There's No reason to think that Djokovic couldn't get into a center service game. Inside out, forehand return, backhand Djokovic cross court, backhand to backhand now. Djokovic changes direction. Sinner slides for the forehand. Forehand Djokovic. Forehand Sinner still going. Djokovic goes up the line with his forehand. Backhand Sinner in just off the top of the net. Djokovic has to drop shot him. Sinner's going to come in, pick it up. Djokovic is going to be there. Oh! Sinner threads the needle. No hope of control from Novak. It's 30 all. 30 all. I mean, I can see why the RG loss was Shunif Snehil. I mean, it was, as I said, Djokovic probably should have won maybe 2 of those sets, and he didn't. And kind of Sinner did to him what I've seen Djokovic do to so many others over the years. And that first serve is way too long from Novak. Second serve at 30 all. So I can see why you are kind of pessimistic, but this is grass, not clay. It might be different. Great defense indeed off that drop shot. There's a few points to go. Backhand in play from Sinner. Forehand Djokovic. No, the backhand from Sinner was just over the baseline. It's 40-30. Djokovic might be out of jail here. Sean's saying that Djokovic can't put as much energy into his defense like he did a few years ago. Yes, that is true. He has to conserve his energy a lot more, and it's very, very obvious watching him over the last couple of years. Great return from Sinner. Djokovic on the stretch on the backhand. Now Djokovic's got the forehand cross court. Sinner's going to get the forehand in play. Backhand cross court Djokovic. Oh, Sinner tried to go for the haymaker up the line with the backhand. It didn't work. It was over the baseline, and Novak Djokovic will be. It will keep the still with the 1 break. 4-3 Sinner coming up next. I don't think Djokovic is slowing down his serve, but having me look at the serve speed, so I'll keep an eye on that if I can. And he's absolutely right to encourage everyone to hit the like button. Please do, because so more people can find this stream. I will have a co-commentator coming from set number 3. Whoever wins the first 2 sets. By the way, Snehil, yes, your suspicion of who my favourite WTA player is correct. Which is one of the reasons why I'm probably not doing the final tomorrow, because I don't think anyone would want to see that. Least of all, although maybe Nerland would want to see that, because I appreciate the offers of condolences. We'll have to see. That match, I think a lot of people are giving it to Iga. I don't think it's going to be so easy in that final tomorrow. I do think Amanda Anisimova has the game, has the mentality to challenge. It's all going to come down to a few things. And on paper, Iga should win on those points. But we will have to see. I'm still kind of leaning towards Swiatek winning that match. But not with huge amounts of confidence, unlike some of my colleagues, which, if you haven't seen it yet, we have done a full half-hour preview and prediction of the women's final, which is on the channel, where you've got sort of John and Mario giving their thoughts after her win against Swiatek's win against Bencic, and then a few of us from the Talking Tennis team giving our thoughts on how we think that match is going to go. Djokovic has slipped, trying to hit a forehand. It's gone over the baseline. It's 15-love. Yeah, Yo Curtis, I would imagine that Anisimova is going to have quite a few fans cheering for her. Quite a few fans cheering for her, especially in the US, who want to see that relay slam happening. Oh, T-serve from Sinner. It's well wide. He's really not seeing his spots very well when trying to serve up the tee. I think a bit out the loop with why we're seeing Suzanne Lenglen on our screens, but always exciting to see the athleticism. There we go. The athleticism that she was displaying in her era, which was far beyond what anyone else could produce. 30 love from Sinner again. Djokovic struggling with his footing there. Sinner going back up the line and wrong footing Novak, who just can't seem to push in that direction. Is that the side that he was struggling with his hip, that he kind of hurt a little bit when closing out against Kaboli? 30 love, Jannik Sinner, 4-3, delivers the serve up the tee. This time he's found it in. Djokovic is, cannot control it. It's an unreturnable serve. It's 40 love. And, I mean, other than a couple of points a couple of games ago, Jannik Sinner is just serving so well. He's 100% first serve points won, 11 out of 11. And Djokovic isn't doing badly either. It's 11 out of 13 first serve points for him. But it's just that service game, that loose game he played in the last set. And Sinner serves an ace unbelievably. Like, I have to say that his serving, not only today, but against Ben Shelton a couple of days ago, was absolutely brilliant. Like, it's just perfect. And that's the kind of play that would that even Carlos Alcaraz is going to struggle against. This points towards another potential epic in the Wimbledon final. Which, if that happens, we're going to be struggling for match of the year between that and the Roland Garros final. Djokovic, there was a second serve. Forehand, Sinner in play. Forehand, Djokovic into the net. Love 15. Eileen Bennett Fernley-Whittingstall. Yes, I believe that she might be a relative of Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall, who is a British chef and celebrity chef. Yes, was playing sort of in the 1920s. Djokovic coming in to try and scoop the volley over. Oh, Sinner's got him. Sinner got him. He was down. No, he just missed the passing shot off the drop shot, and it's 15-all. But I thought he got there. And Sinner's speed keeps catching Djokovic out. He's there. He gets a racket on it. Just clears the net. Comes off the top of the net and wide. If he hadn't clipped the net, it would have found the court. Sinner looking to win this set easily. Second serve to look forward to. 15-all. Yokatis, Sinner's elbow is absolutely fine. No issues. Very clearly okay against Shelton as well. Yeah, agreed. We have amazing finals ahead, either way, men's and women's side. And that's guaranteed, regardless of who wins this match. That's on right now. But Anisimova against Fiontek, I think, could be an absolute epic. As the other two women's slam finals this year have been. Djokovic has just netted a forehand, 15-30. Okay, you need to lock in here for some points coming up because Djokovic could be about to lose the first set very, very quickly. 100-mile-an-hour serve last time up. We're going to have a look at that serve speed now for Ghosty. Djokovic delivers the first serve into the net. That was 125 miles an hour. Apparently, Emma Raducanu is in the house. Not paying more attention to our VIPs in the live chat than the VIPs in the Royal Box. Backhand in play from Sinner. Djokovic is at the net. Scoops in the forehand, but it's not very good. Sinner's going to try and lob him. It lands in. Djokovic is going to have to scoop it up and over. Sinner's got the overhead to finish. Goes right at Djokovic. Backhand Djokovic right to Sinner's backhand, who goes up and in. Drop shot Djokovic. Sinner's going to scramble back in. Put the forehand right again, right at Djokovic. This is exhibition stuff. Sinner finishes with the overhead. It's 15-40. It's 2 set points. Ghosty, Emma Raducanu has not been open about any religious faith she might or might not have. Yeah, really fun rally. Really fun rally there. Real exhibition stuff. I don't know why Sinner kept going at Djokovic, but he got the job done in the end. First serve from Djokovic out wide, ace. What a way to set safe set point. Second set point coming up. Snehill's probably watching with his head in his hands right now, and I have every sympathy. Because this is not as competitive as I thought it would be, but there's still another couple of sets at least to come after this. Let's see if Djokovic can save the set point. Puts the first serve into the net. It was a second serve coming behind. He's serving around the 120s on his first serve. I don't think that's down on his usual serve speed, as Ghosty was asking about, but someone can correct me on that. Delivers the second serve. Forehand in play from Sinner. Forehand Djokovic, Sinner backhand. Oh, Sinner just tried to sort of deftly guide the backhand across court. And it ended up in the low part of the net, and it is deuce. Djokovic is saved 2 set points. Centre court on a baking hot day in the UK. in the 80s Fahrenheit-wise, as a huge serve from Djokovic gives himself advantage. We're into a 5-minute game here. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit cooler now, but it's still sort of like it peaked around the low 30s in centigrade. Now it's probably in the 20s. Djokovic, he's got a second serve to try and close this game out. Snehal, you're never alone when you're watching talking tennis. We'll keep you company. I'm glad you'll have company for the final, whoever's in it. Great second serve from Djokovic. He then goes for the backhand right to the center forehand. It goes cross court. Oh, he finds it. Drops in just before the baseline, and it's deuce, and this game continues. I know what you mean, Ghosty. Like, so the grass can make things deceptively slow sometimes. I don't know whether it's the way it bounces, maybe the fact it's kind of so low. But yeah, it's centre court probably is slower compared to a lot of other courts on the outside. Huge first serve from Djokovic, ace advantage again to try and get out of this game and force Sinner to serve this set out. First serve delivers from Djokovic up the tee. Sinner scrambles it back and play forehand and set it up for Djokovic into the nets. Deuce. Oh, he had that on right there to try and finish, and he just went for it a bit too much. Way too flat. Not enough lift over the net for that. Agreed. Yeah, it doesn't matter, how Djokovic's career ends. He's still statistically, unmatched. And more likely to be unmatched. We'll see. Deuce point, second serve coming up. Djokovic delivers a backhand and play from Sinner. Forehand. Oh, Djokovic goes for the inside-out forehand. It just misses the tram line, and it's a third set point for Jannik Sinner. Djokovic has been struggling to get out of this game. He's not been so clinical. He's been missing some shots that he probably shouldn't be, and he's giving Jannik Sinner chances to get this set done. Third set point. Djokovic, huge serve, missed. Second serve to defend set point with. He saved 2 early in the game at 15-40. Delivers the second serve at the tee. Sinner gets it back in play. Backhands Djokovic. Oh, he's well out of court. And Sinner takes the first set with 2 breaks of serve. 6-3. And yeah, just does look like the better player right now. Snehal, I know it's tough, but we've seen Djokovic come back from tougher stuff before. Let's see how it goes. Remember, like that Alcaraz final last year, Djokovic made it a contest towards the end of a third set. If you can make it a contest towards the end of the second set, or even the beginning of the second set, this match will get back onto the hype that it deserves. But there you go. That is the first set. Going pretty quickly, actually. Surprisingly quickly, to be honest. Need to have a look at the time of that match, actually. I didn't see how long that set took. We've got the stats in front of us, and Sinner wins in every single department, apart from aces and double faults. But yeah, more first serves in, more first serve points won, way better on second serve points won. Djokovic on 23%. Unforced errors department actually pretty low, 6 from Djokovic, 5 from Sinner, but Sinner is forcing the play a little bit more and is serving so much better. I don't know, Nerlan. I think Snehal will probably do a decent job of being the Prime Minister of the UK, provided, of course, he's from the UK. But I reckon he could give it a good crack. Yeah, so some interesting stats so far. What's going on? Yes, I can see Emma is in the Royal Box. Having a lot of fun with that one. Let's have a look and see. what else is happening because I wanted to see if Alfie Hewitt's in. We're back into the second set there, and Sinner's going to go, just gets lucky with the let court off the top of the net and in the court, but maybe that ball was travelling out if it hadn't caught the net. Dragged down to court, 15-love. No apology from Sinner for what I could tell. That was a bit disappointing, really, but maybe he was dialed in there. Hard to say. Yes, Alfie Hewitt did go through in his wheelchair singles match. 6-love, 7-5. Ghosty, when did you retake John McEnroe's opinion on anything seriously? Well, maybe the 1980s, but now, anyway. Backhand, great serve from Sinner, unreturnable, 30-love, and again, continuing his insanely good serving performance. Who knows? Maybe this match will be done quick enough that we can go and check out the absolute epic that might be about to kick off on court one of the ladies' doubles between Katerina Siniakova and Taylor Townsend against Shea Su Wei and Yelena Ostapenko. Oh, ace from Sinner, 40-love. Ghosty, if you're talking about Patrick McEnroe, that's an opinion I care even less about. Especially when, considering some of the stuff he said before, still angry about what he did to Ted Townsend when she was a junior. And we've got a great serve from Sinner, forehand cross court again to finish the job done, +1 winner, and it's hold to love. And really, Sinner is just looking untroubled on serve. Yeah, Shea Su Wei is definitely still relevant, Ghosty. Absolutely, brilliant player, fun personality. And the fact she's with Yelena Ostapenko is just this perfect chaos duo. So we'll see how they do against Siniakova and Townsend. Look, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on John McEnroe, to be fair. I think there's a reason why he's been a commentator for so long. I think, let's face it, I think he is one of the greatest players ever in the men's game. And you don't you don't do that without learning a thing or two and being very knowledgeable. But he is increasingly out of touch with the modern game, it appears. We're into a long rally here. Forehand to final. Djokovic slaps a forehand into the net. Love 15. It's not looking good for Novak Djokovic right now, who looks a little bit dejected out there. Forehand unforced errors. That's his 5th one. Consent to Sinner's just 1. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit too opinionated, and that kind of opinion is going to get us in trouble on channel. But I can always apologise to John later when he watches this back. Backhand from Djokovic to the backhand of Sinner. Backhand Djokovic to Sinner, forehand inside out. Backhand Djokovic. They're still trading at the moment at the middle. Djokovic trying to keep this rally going. It's a long rally at the moment, just trading really. Djokovic moving Sinner moving Djokovic side to side, and Djokovic having to run to scoop a forehand into play. Set Sinner up for the forehand up the line. Too good. Love 30. And really, it has been passive from Djokovic. Let's be honest. Didn't really look to inject any pace there, and Sinner just put the rally under his control. And this works for Djokovic against anyone who is not Carlos Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner. Heck, it even works against Alexander Zverev. It might even work against Taylor Fritz. Does not work against the top 2 players in the world at the moment. Ace from Djokovic. There we go. That's the serve back up and running. Ticks his first serve up to 62%. Um, 15:30 coming up. Delivers the first serve. Now it's got the backhand up the line to the forehand of Sinner is long. Djokovic gets this back to 30 all. There's still hope for him this game. Sean, I think Dimitrov was just serving out of his mind. He was doing so well. I did wonder how sustainable that was, even before he popped his pec. But just everything seemed to be clicking. Sinner seemed to be a bit flat in that match as well. Possibly a bit worried about the elbow. Backhand up the line from Sinner, winner, 30-40, looking for the early break in this second set. Yeah, I know, Ghosty. Yeah, Dimitrov. Oh, yeah. Very much a what could have been for Grigor. I do think that maybe Jannik would probably still have come back from 2-0 down, but yeah, that's maybe we could be maybe this would be going very differently if Djokovic was playing Grigor or even Ben Shelton in this match. Second serve to defend a break point. Sinner's on the attack with a forehand inside out from Djokovic, well over the baseline. It's another break. It's 2-love, and it really is not going Novak Djokovic's way at the moment. So a lot thinking that Sinner wouldn't have come back. I don't know. He broke back near the end of the second. I think he probably would have got the third, and then we would have seen how it went from there. Maybe, I mean, look, Dimitrov winning would have been really cool. Here's this, as we are, we're on 41 minutes already. We've only played 11 games. This is ridiculous. Huge serve from Sinner, who then goes inside in. Djokovic, oh! Passing shot that clips the net. Sinner can't control it. It's love 15. Is this a foothold? This is the first point that Djokovic has won against the Sinner serve since, I think it was 2-1 Sinner with a break. Yeah, that would be right. 2-1 Sinner with a break. And I think Sinner got it from 40-love to 40-30. Unreturnable serve, 15-all. Yes, I mean, look, everyone wants to see Damien Kust. I still have yet to see him in person, and I'm very sad about that. Actually, this is a great question for the live chat, like Sean, Snehill, Ghost, Janie, whoever. If, and we've got about 30 of you watching, so if you want to have your opinion on this, unreturn ace from Sinner, too good, 30-15. If Dimitrov had won against Jannik Sinner, just hypothetically, like he hadn't got injured, and he played Ben Shelton, who do you think would have been playing Novak Djokovic today? Dimitrov or Shelton? Now, what a tough call. I think if Dimitrov still got injured, then the answer's obvious. But would Dimitrov have continued that level? Another ace from Sinner. Producer thinks Dimitrov would have won, and then Djokovic would have then beaten him in this match to win the final, to make the final. And then we've got Djokovic Alcaraz on centre court for the third year running. Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know which way that would have gone between Dimitrov and Shelton. Oh, clips the line from Sinner. Ace again, and it is game 3-love. After going love 15 down, just serves perfectly. Producer thinking Shelton would have had a chance against Novak. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Dimitrov might get a set as well. I know historically their head-to-head hasn't been great. Let's be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Shelton definitely could have given Djokovic a run for his money, but I still think Djokovic wins that match. Depends on how well Shelton serves and how dialed into the return Djokovic is, how well Djokovic serves as well. If he's serving like he is today, maybe not, but it depends on what's troubling him, whether it's the opponent or whether it's the just how his body's feeling on the day. I guess in that scenario, then we'd be probably going, well, Alcaraz being the favourite to beat Djokovic in the final. But how hyped would we have been for an Alcaraz Dimitrov or Alcaraz Shelton final? My suspicion is that we probably wouldn't have been very hyped for Alcaraz Dimitrov, but Alcaraz Shelton might have got a bit of hype. Yeah. Ghosty. I think the thing is, Sinner just played perfect tennis and Shelton couldn't keep up with it. That was my take on that match. that they played in the quarterfinals. The real match that we actually got. Djokovic delivers the serve out wide. Now he goes for the volley. Sinner's going to tap the forehand into the net. It's 15-love. I don't think you can even say that Djokovic's got a favourite side anymore because he's been broken on both sides. It doesn't really matter at the moment. Djokovic is hoping desperately this is not going to be one-way traffic. As are we, to be honest, because I want to see Novak put up a fight here. As Djokovic goes for the serve volley, Sinner tries to go for the running passing shot and puts it into the bottom of the net. It's 30-love. Novak Djokovic. Shots to the crowd. Nurlan, I don't think Emma Raducanu is an attention seeker. I think she's kind of sick of the attention. I think she is a tennis fan. I think she's enjoying tennis at the moment. And I think that's what's going on there. 40-love. Djokovic having a much better service game here, serving pretty well. He's decided to switch to serve and volley. Comes in again behind the first serve, scoops the ball into place, and is going to go for the backhand pass. Oh, it's just too good. He puts a minor apology at Djokovic because it did look like it was going to clip the Djokovic's racket. But yeah, 40-15. And Sinner kind of sending a warning to Djokovic not to try the serve and volley too much because he will be ready for it. He's already adapting to that strategy. Djokovic serves on the tee, doesn't come this time, goes backhand up the line. Sinner's going to put the forehand cross court. Djokovic goes back behind. Forehand, Sinner cross court. Djokovic goes for the monster forehand cross court. Clips the line. That's a Djokovic special. That's the aggression we want to see. Gets the game. It's 3-1. He's on the board in this second set. We are at 47 minutes played. We have played 13 games. This is quite a quick match, really, in the grand scheme of things. We are averaging just over 3 minutes a game. First serve out wide from Sinner, in place. Forehand inside out from Sinner, clips the line. It's too good. It's 15-love. No, he did. Oh, sorry, he missed it. Can't hear the calls and miss, which is a problem. Actually, do you know what? I'm watching on a laptop, so maybe if I plug this in, I might actually be able to hear something. Maybe get something going a bit there. So let's see if that works. Because then I might be able to hear the calls a bit better and actually accurately call this match. Yeah, so love 15. Sinner goes, oh, great serve out wide. Too good. Djokovic's return attempt. I mean, like, Djokovic had no hope getting that in court. Ends up in the bottom of the net. It's 15 all. All right, let's have a look at this. So, $15 all. Sinner delivers the serve out wide. Djokovic gets the forehand in play. Now we've got the forehand up the middle of the court. Slice from Djokovic is going to come in behind. The approach shot was not good enough. Sinner, easy pass on the backhand up the line. It's 30-15. I don't know about the names on Stefan Djokovic's hat. Yeah, I would imagine it's players because he's a big tennis fan. He's trying to get as many signatures as he can. He's a tennis fan at heart, regardless of who his dad is. It's very clear. Be interested to see if he does take up the sport professionally, like his dad. Typically, it's 40-15 from Sinner, by the way. Typically, I say that children of players generally don't do as well as their parents if their parents are successful. But if their parents aren't as successful, then they do better. My observation. Ace from Sinner to close that game out. 4-1. We are on a change of ends. And Nurlan has got an interesting comment here from about a minute ago saying if Sinner wins this in 3 sets, we could see another Archie-esque final. I think what you mean by that, I'm assuming, is that basically if Sinner wins this, then it's just going to be a repeat, like another 5-set epic between those two. players are really high quality, and I don't disagree. I think it is going to be really high quality. Whether it reaches the heights of what we got in Roland Garros, I don't know. But again, Sinner and Alcaraz always produce these amazing 5-setters at any given opportunity. And whether they're like perfect or not, I don't know. But I think one caution I would kind of bring is I can think of like, epic matches. I would like the McEnroe-Borg Wimbledon final from 1980. That was up until the 2008 Wimbledon final considered the greatest match ever played anywhere. And they followed that up with a 5-setter at the US Open, which is not really talked about. I'm not seeing the footage of it. Maybe Ghosty, if you can tell me if you see that US Open 1980 final, or if anyone has. It was clearly, it wasn't the same quality, but it must have still been a fun match. I'm also, if you go to the other extreme, the greatest women's final ever played, potentially, women's match ever played, Steffi Graf and Monica Seles at Roland Garros in 92, as Djokovic is going to come in behind the serve again, and Sinner goes wide on the passing shot on the stretch, 15-love. But yeah, that 92 RG final, you had those two players going head to head in one of the greatest battles ever, and then the Wimbledon final between Graf and Seles that immediately followed was just so one-sided. Unreturnable serve from Djokovic, who again is just persisting with his serve and volley right now. Yeah, Ghosty, that's my suspicion, is that Borg McEnroe US Open final wasn't talked about because that Wimbledon final was so iconic. But yeah, it's just one of those cautions of like, even if we did get 5 sets between them, would it be as crazy as the RG one? I doubt it, but you never know. Maybe we'll get just an absolute banger match after match after match. I certainly think it'd go 5 sets, but maybe it won't be a deciding set tiebreak. It might be a 6-3 decider. Yeah, getting some good input here as we've got Djokovic at 40-love. Sinner's going to run around to hit the forehand. Djokovic long over the baseline. That was going pretty well. Well, look, see what's going on. So we've got some good questions from Matthew about third favourite, but on this point, like, sure, just a vision of like great finals of yesteryear pointers. We've got an ace from Djokovic to close that game out, 4-2. Great Agassi-Sampras finals. Agassi and Sampras never played a 5-set Grand Slam final. They played 4 sets in the 1995 Australian Open and 1995 US Open finals, and the 2002 US Open final. I think Wimbledon 99 was straight sets for Sampras. I cannot remember the 1990 Sampras Agassi score in that US Open final. I know Steve Flink put their US Open 2001 quarterfinal that was all tie breaks over 4 sets in his book, which I've got on my shelf behind me. That was that. But yeah, I don't think there was really a classic Sampras Agassi Grand Slam final, to be honest. They probably would have gone 5 at some point, but it was never. Yes, they did go 5 sets at Wimbledon in the quarterfinals in 1993. I'm pretty sure about that. But that's the only 5 sets I can think of between the two of them. But if anyone else remembers, that'd be great. But unfortunately, just didn't have an absolute epic Grand Slam final. Competitive, but not epic. Love 15, by the way, in this Sinner service game. Is this match going to catch back alive? Not as far as Jannik Sinner is concerned, with an unreturnable serve comes off the line. And now I'm going to turn to Matthew's question that we're getting here at the moment, which is, is Djokovic still going to be motivated if he's clearly the 3rd best player in the world behind Sinner and Alcaraz, particularly at majors? And that's interesting. I think, yeah, I think that's an interesting question about his motivation. Can he still be the best of the rest? Yes. For how long? I don't know. Maybe another year or two. He's hoping he can still be relatively competitive at the LA Olympics in 2028. Unreturnable serve again from Jannik Sinner. I think he'll be motivated to keep that gap and try and close it up. I think he still feels he has a chance against Carlos. The question is whether he can crack Jannik Sinner. And he'll be trying not to lose to the players that our producer has mentioned in his comment here. Like this new generation coming through, 40-15, another unreturnable serve from Jannik Sinner. Really, yeah, really, that's gonna be defining motivations. Can he keep up? And it's very similar to sort of what I think happened to Rafael Nadal. And producer, might need to get on the phone with John and get his opinion on this. With the Nadal thing, I think Nadal probably realized it was time to retire when Djokovic crushed him at Roland Garros, and he realized he couldn't keep up in 2024, and he had no hope of keeping up with that rival. And that was the final nail in the coffin. And I think Djokovic would need to have a moment like that to decide to stop. Lots of talk about classic matches. I think Ghosty makes a good point in the chat about, there are people who think that classic matches can only happen in finals and those who don't. I am of the opinion that classic matches can happen outside of finals. I think I would quite happily pick not a final for match of the year if it was high enough quality. I certainly think that 2022 Sinner Alcaraz 5-setter at the US Open was the best match of 2022, hands down. And that was the year when Nadal came back from 2-0 against Daniel Medvedev. Agassi and Rafter, those Wimbledon semi-finals in 2000, 2001, as Matthew's mentioning. I will say, though, I think when you're talking about greatest matches of all time, I think those are matches that capture the imagination and have the biggest drama as well as the biggest quality. And you could only get that between the two best players in the world going as close as you can get. 5 sets, ideally like up to or past 5-5 in the set. Sinner forcing a Djokovic error there for love 15. That's my opinion. Or even like usually it needs to be the top 2 players in the world, but sometimes you can do it with multiple slam champions as well. But that would be my take, is that to be a real GOAT contender, it needs to be as tight a 5th set as possible, and in a Grand Slam final between the 2 best players in the world. Let's see what Djokovic can do here. Inside in for outside for Sinner. Then we've got another forehand lift up from Sinner. Backhand inside out from Djokovic. Now Sinner goes cross court. Forehand up the line from Djokovic. Sinner's there, getting the backhand play. Djokovic's going to come to the net. Drop shot. Sinner. Oh, Sinner gets the pass. Djokovic tries to scoop that into play. Sinner's there to intercept. It's love 30, and he is just giving Djokovic the run around. Yeah, I agree with you, Matthew. If it's Sinner that's the immovable object, then Djokovic can still play and hope Sinner falls to injury. I guess the question is, how long can he keep up with Carlos Alcaraz? Stefan Djokovic, very disappointed to see his father as love 30 down at 2-5. Now delivers the first serve. It's unreturnable. Sinner, it drops to the bottom of the net. Djokovic was getting ready for the sort of the net to try and put that away. Still serve volleying. He's in a lot of trouble right now. Uh, 15-30. Oh, huge serve from Djokovic. Ace, 30-all. He might be digging himself out of trouble here, Novak, as we hit the 1 hour mark. I mean, crazy that we could be done with 2 sets in just about an hour. Unbelievable. I'll get to your question in a minute, Lukey. I do want to see this game out first. I want to keep it kind of relevant. And we've got Djokovic going inside in. Sinner. Oh, running passing shot winner on the forehand. What on earth was that? That is why that man is the world number one. That is the kind of thing that Djokovic used to be able to do in his prime. Set point Jannik Sinner for a 6-2 double break set. It could be 2 double break sets for Jannik Sinner. Djokovic goes up the tee. Ace. What a way to save set point. Ghibli, you talking about Djokovic or Sinner? I'm assuming you're talking about Djokovic, but I can't think of the last kind of injury that Djokovic has had. I mean, like, there's a possibility he's injured today. Like, there was a possibility he kind of overstretched his hip in the trying to finish off against Kabali, but oh, what? Oh, great ace from Djokovic. I thought it was wide, but it just clipped the line. And he's getting lots of cheers from his son. It's 9 aces each, by the way. This was really a serve-dominated contest, and it's no doubt that Djokovic is much more vulnerable on serve compared to Sinner. Or Sinner is much stronger on serve, depending on how you look at it. I'd say definitely Sinner's first serve is just so good right now, and Djokovic is way too vulnerable in the second. Delivers the second serve, comes in, loops up the volley. Sinner's going for the attack. Oh! Hold on a moment. I need to switch streams because annoyingly, I am not able to watch that one. Okay, let's have a look. See if we're getting anything here. So yeah, so Sinner, great work there to pass Djokovic. Gets that ball, scoops it in play. What a match. I don't know if this is full-on Federer-Hurkacz, Ghibli. I think that one was a complete mismatch. And even then, I think Roger had a chance of winning a set in that match. The third set, he was completely gone. But oh, second serve right on the edge of the line from Djokovic, and it's advantage to the experienced veteran. Ghibli is pointing out Djokovic's lack of intensity, which is, I guess it's true to a certain extent. I mean, like, he's just a little flat today. He's not serving as effectively as he usually does, as proved by the fact he's gone wide there. Second serve coming up. I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure Damien's going to make it for this third set. Forehand in play from Sinner. Backhand Djokovic. The forehand of Sinner cross-court. Cross-court into the net from Djokovic. We're still going in this game. And again, this is kind of what the greats do, what the best players in the world do. They just keep working until they get that decisive break, get themselves the set. Sinner's doing that right now. Djokovic used to do that all the time. It's a great serve from Djokovic. Again, clips the line, and it's an advantage to Djokovic to still, again, get the game point. He saved set point. It's just very inconsistent with the first serve at the moment. Oh, great serve out wide from Djokovic. Sinner gets it back in play. Djokovic miscues the inside-out forehand to try and finish it with back at deuce. 4th time. Ghibli, I think I will say this. I think Djokovic's attitude at the moment is that he doesn't want to stop. He's talking about wanting to play the LA Olympics. He's still, as we're saying, the 3rd best in the world. Oh, Sinner's going to get to that drop shot from Djokovic. He has to finish the job again. He does, and it's advantage to Djokovic. But that could have gone horribly wrong. But Sinner was just not even on the tennis court. Djokovic could have put that ball wherever he wanted. It was very smart not to overplay it. Here's the thing. Djokovic also is a realist and knows how old he is and knows that he could give himself a career-ending injury at any point between now and then. So he's playing this like it could be his last Wimbledon, but it wouldn't be by his choice. I think it would be by him being forced to stop. Oh, double fault from Djokovic. Back to deuce. Cannot close this game out. Oh, no, sorry. My mistake. I thought it was a double fault. It's not. It's a first serve miss. We are off the hook for Djokovic. Backhand from Sinner. Djokovic slices into the net. Now we are at deuce. You think Djokovic was joking about playing singles in the Olympics? And also, even if he wasn't playing singles, there's still doubles. Could play with Kecmanovic. Or in the men's singles, or even find pair back up with Olga Danilovic for the mixed. Unreturnable serve again from Djokovic up the tee. He just needs to find a way of closing out on the ad court. Goes out wide with the serve. Now he's got the backhand up the line. Sinner's there with the forehand. Djokovic goes cross-court with the backhand. He's not really going for the angles, but it doesn't matter. Sinner nets. Djokovic gets the game. What a hold from Djokovic under so much pressure. And his son is roaring in celebration. 5-3, 33-minute set. Same length as the first. Sinner will now serve for the set. He hasn't had to serve for a set yet this match. Let's see how clutch he is here. (5-3). Sinner puts the first serve into the net. Second serve coming up for Jannik Sinner. Delivers it. Oh, he's double faulted. Love 15. Guys, this set's not over just yet. Let's not, put too many nails in the Djokovic coffin. But yeah, he might be able to raise his levels today, grab a set. I think Djokovic is going to be big miss from Sinner. That tee serve's malfunctioning a little bit when he goes for it sometimes. That's probably where his first serve percentage drops a bit. Second serve, delivered. Djokovic on the attack with the backhand. Backhand Sinner just over the net. Forehand Djokovic back to the Sinner backhand. It goes cross court. Slice from Djokovic to the Sinner forehand. It goes inside out. Backhand Djokovic up the line. Sinner's now going to change direction with the forehand cross court. Djokovic goes up the line with his forehand. Sinner's there for the middle of the court. Slice from Djokovic to the Sinner backhand. Now Djokovic going to go up the line with his backhand. Sinner's having to slide to the forehand. Djokovic, he tried to go back behind Sinner. That was the right choice of shot, but he was off balance. Kind of tripped over himself and put the ball in the net. And it's 15-all. That was the right shot. He was so close to love 30, but could not execute from that position. Just off balance. No question, Nerlan, it's Sinner. Oh yeah, Lukey, I forgot you asked me about the women's final ages ago. Sorry. Unreturnable serve from Jannik Sinner. Unreturnable serve from Jannik Sinner. It's 30-15. 2 points away from the second set. 2 sets love lead against Novak Djokovic for the second consecutive Grand Slam semi-final. Possibly third if you consider that the time they played the Grand Slam semi-final before that was Australian Open. I think Sinner won in 4. Djokovic won the third set. Another unreturnable serve from Sinner, 40-15. It's his second set point. First one on his serve coming up. Ghibli, I don't think Kaboli would be performing much better, I'm going to be honest. Oh, ace from Sinner to close out the set. Great performance from Jannik Sinner, and he leads 6-3, 6-3 against Novak Djokovic. And the writing is probably on the wall for Novak Djokovic. And just to kind of continue this discussion about Djokovic carrying on, I think he's going to carry on for as long as he thinks he can be competitive with, be better than everybody else, for as long as he thinks he can get titles, get trophies. The question is whether he wants to do that, whether he's all about the slams, whether he thinks he has the level in him. He's got the trainer out to talk about something. See if we can hear what's going on.
Hi, Nick.
Hello, Damien. Oh, I thought you'd be a lot longer than this.
Yeah, I mean the 8-minute game actually helped me out a lot to get here in time. That's for sure. When Novak was trying to stay in the second set, I've barely watched anything besides the last 2 games.
Fair.
Well,
I mean, at the minute, I would say, from my perspective, Djokovic hasn't really been super aggressive. It looks like he's having some kind of treatment on his leg right now. But yeah, really, it's been all about Jannik Sinner has been insanely good on serve. It's like every time in commentating, it's been ace, unreturned serve, ace, unreturned serve. And Djokovic has not been very clinical behind his second serve at all. First serve is okay, but it's not amazing. But the second serve, he's really getting punished by Sinner.
He didn't get a point on his second serve in the second set? Okay, that's kind of wild.
It was 28% in the first.
Although 78% first serves in, so I guess it wasn't a massive sample size, but nonetheless, that's kind of, yeah, that's pretty rare. Yeah, hi guys. I see a couple of names I haven't seen in a while. Wookie and also there's Ghibli. Yeah, welcome guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this, it's like the stats, like, yeah, Djokovic only with 8 unforced errors. I think that's about right. I think Sinner is forcing the mistakes more than anything else. Yeah, at the minute, it is a serve battle. That's what
so
it is.
So the trainer visit is not on the leg or anything like that, right?
It looked like he was rubbing a towel on kind of Djokovic's upper thigh.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. Never mind. I looked wrong. Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, he canceled his practice yesterday and everything like that, right? Just like Sinner before the quarters. I don't know if that's impacting him at all or not.
Maybe. Yeah, we know there was that possibility if he might have hurt himself a little bit against Kaboli. Yeah, so I'll get your, like, we've had a lot of really interesting conversations. I'd love to get your input on here. I'm going to answer Lukey's question. I'm not dyeing my hair blonde if Iga wins because that does not seem like the less likely scenario.
Strawberry pasta, though, right? We're eating strawberry pasta.
I'll give it a go, but yeah, I don't know. And like, we'll let the producer confirm anything about who might be covering the match. It depends if it's confirmed yet or not. But yeah, the fact that it's hot tomorrow might help Iga more than Amanda potentially. But yeah, Djokovic is still getting treatment. I think it does look like the hip, which that looks like the part that got hurt against Kaboli when he slipped on match point. Oh, Ghost, have you not heard about strawberry pasta? So, to be honest, everyone thinks this is weird. Iga Swiatek apparently has been eating strawberries mixed in with pasta. It's working. So, but yes, we'll continue with it. So, we've got Sneha in the chat who thinks Novak looks quite flat. This injury might have something to do with that. But yeah, we wanted to, I think we ended up in a bit of a conversation, Damien. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. Is how long do you think Novak Djokovic is going to keep going for? And is he going to be motivated by being the third best player at slams? Is he going to be motivated by the fact he can literally beat everyone except Sinner and Alcaraz? And even then,
I don't think so. I think he said it as well.
Is winnable sometimes.
Yeah, I think he said it as well before that he just needs to feel like he's competitive against these guys. Like, it's all about Sinner and Alcaraz right now. I don't know what to think at the moment, whether he still feels like he can be competitive. Obviously, he beat Carlos at the Australian Open, then has a pretty decent match with Jannik at Roland Garros, all things considered. So, I mean, at least up until Wimbledon, it looked like he might be competitive. But, you know, he has this match. And I'm not saying that one performance should be enough to, like, completely switch something in Novak's mind. But the more matches like this he's going to play, and obviously Jannik he hasn't beaten in a while, this will very likely be his 5th loss in a row to Sinner. Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of things that could probably get him out of the sport sooner than later. Yeah. I don't know if one match is going to be like, you know, the moment he decides that, but But if there is a match, then yeah, it's against Sinner or Alcaraz, and it's a straight set, easy defeat.
I guess it depends. If he decides, oh, I was hurt, therefore I couldn't be my most competitive against Sinner, that might change his view in this. It'll be if he feels completely healthy and still gets blown away by Jannik Sinner, that's a whole different thing. He's got to 40 love, which is pretty good. He's serving pretty well this game. But yeah, we were talking about him whether it was a joke or not that he was talking about playing the LA Olympics in 2028. I don't think it'd be crazy to think he might try for the doubles, even if the singles might be a struggle. But
with Medvedovic, I guess. Yeah,
Medvedovic or Kecmanovic.
Yeah.
Sure. And then Danilovic in the mixed. They always seem to like powering up.
I'd like to see that. Yeah. But I honestly, if you were to ask me right now, I don't think he's going to play the Olympics in 28.
It does seem a bit of a stretch. But you never know. He might try. Look, Tatiana Maria is talking about playing long enough to play doubles with her daughter. So Djokovic might be setting similar targets to play into his 40s.
I mean, Alcaraz said about Fognini, right, during this Wimbledon, that he could probably play until he was 50.
Yeah. Maybe. By
the way, Ghosty, please don't assign this strawberry pasta thing to the entire country of Poland. It's only Iga that's eating this. I've never heard of this combination, or maybe once in my life. But yeah, I want to try it if she wins the title. So that's going to be pretty fun. And also, Nurlan, I've never had a hip injury, no.
Damien, I want to get your perspective on this. We talked a bit about the matchups here. Sinner's, again, continue to serving incredibly well. Well, I say that as he's dumped a first serve into the net, my side. But never mind. What is it about the matchups for Novak in his current form that means he has a chance against Carlos on a good day, but struggles to compete or even get sets off Jannik Sinner? What is it about those matchups that creates more of a chance against one than the other?
I think it's more about the Sinner one being just pretty poor, because in some ways they are different versions of a similar game. Jannik is obviously a little bit more violent in his accelerations. His shots are a little bit more rampant, but he is kind of very similarly focused on efficiency, and the serve and return game is so strong. So I think in some ways Djokovic kind of meets his match, but 15 years younger, and that is always going to be very difficult to beat. I think when two players have a slightly similar game at least, and one of them is just 5-10% better at literally everything, because right now I would say that Jannik is better, other than intangibles, so obviously experience and tennis IQ, he's literally better than Novak in every single aspect of the sport. It's going to be very tough to win that. And maybe against Carlos, there's just a lot more to look at. Obviously we've spoken about this so many times as well, but Alcaraz tends to have dips, tends to have moments when he's not applying his game in the smartest way. And you can potentially work your way around that. You can find something in these in these spots. He's also obviously been very tight in the Djokovic matchup since the Cincinnati match, basically. Since that loss, he's had a few against Novak since then that were just, you could see that he's not exactly feeling the most comfortable, free out there, including Australian Open this year. So maybe a combination of these two things. Just Jannik being a slightly younger version of Novak in some ways. Well, not slightly younger, but a much younger version of Novak in some ways, and also just not being as scared of Novak as Carlos is apparently. For Carlos, this is still such a massive opponent, and I think Jannik has very much just shifted that to Carlos is the opponent I have to compete against, and Novak is part of the tour. It's brutal, but maybe that's what it is. By the way, what's brutal as well as this forehand is from Jannik, and that's the first breakpoint of the match.
First breakpoint against Sinner, shank from Sinner, 30-40, and guys, Djokovic might have woken up here, or Sinner's had a dip. Bit of both, but he's being cheered on by his fans who still believe that 25 is possible. I've seen so many Novak Djokovic 25 shirts around Wimbledon, either on TV or when I was there last week. Here we go. 30-40 40. Jannik Sinner serving to save break points. What's he going to deliver? First serve. Djokovic actually gets that in play. Forehand Sinner into the net. Djokovic breaks in the third. We still have a match. What on earth was that? That was a bit of a dip from Jannik. And we were talking about how Carlos is the one who has dips. That was a little bit strange from Sinner there.
Yeah, some fairly random errors, including on breakpoint. 30-all was maybe a little less random. I mean, Novak put that like short, chipped return in, and yeah, you can miss that ball for sure on grass. Breakpoint kind of for free. I mean, after getting a deep return in, but this is the moment. Like, if Novak is supposed to fight back in this match, have a shot at winning, then obviously he cannot like fail this, and he cannot give that break away anytime soon.
Well, he's got an error on the forehand from Sinner early on in this game for 15 love. And yeah, he seems to have woken up a bit, Djokovic. This might be, if he gets a set here, that might be a little bit out of nowhere, but it's Novak Djokovic. It's difficult to count out. He's going to try and make everything competitive. He's serve volleying again. He was trying that a lot in set 2, and that one worked. The lovely sort of dead stop volley at 30 love.
So he was trying to do it a lot in the second set, huh?
He was, yes. He kind of
because I saw the stats after the first set, and I saw that he was at the net like once, and I was pretty surprised about it.
Yeah, and then he basically was doing it more or less all the time on serve when he got after, because he got broken pretty early in the second set, and then would just switch to doing it almost all the time. Apart from that,
some stretching here as well on the hip area.
Yeah. I mean, look, what man is not invigorated by having his leg vigorously rubbed? But anyway, backhand to backhand rally at the moment. Then we've got a forehand into the net from Djokovic, 30-15. Not consolidated this yet. Yeah, so we've got an interesting situation going on here. Hello, Drew. Nice to see you here today. Interesting situation here. I mean, how optimistic are you about Novak potentially holding here if he can get through this game? Like continuing to hold Sinner at bay through this set?
I mean, I've still only barely watched
his last 4 service games.
Like, I've only seen a few games still. Obviously, the last one from Jannik was a little rough. Well, this entire start to the third set from Jannik is a little rough. But, his quality on return typically is so high that I would assume that there's going to be at least one from here that, he has a shot in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Novak has kind of been not gifted this chance, but it kind of just like arrived for him all of a sudden. He has that MTO, 2 sets to love down, nothing is clicking, and suddenly the break kind of just arrives, and now it's up to him obviously to take the most out of this possibly.
This match is going pretty quickly now. We are halfway through the third set potentially, or a third depending if Sinner breaks back. And that first 2 sets took just over an hour. Were you surprised by how quickly this match has gone, Damien? I mean, like, obviously you weren't expecting to join until set 3, and suddenly it's like, oh heck, I thought this was going to be another hour away. And do you think this is probably going to help Novak if he's going to try and come back?
There's that weird stat that Jannik still hasn't won a match that lasted over 4 hours. But I think it's somewhat fake. I mean, obviously he could have won the Roland Garros final. He didn't lose it because of his physicality, or it was a factor, but he still had major chances to win it. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that it was so quick, because I actually went for a long walk. I was watching Misolic and Navona in Braunschweig on my phone. And I was just thinking, okay, so after the first set, I'm going to probably like slowly start circling back to my home. And then I suddenly realized that, I mean, it's getting very close to 2 sets to love, so I might not make it for the third set. So yeah, I was a bit surprised. I don't know if it's really a major difference. I mean, maybe it would be worse for Novak if it was 3 hours by now, but with the way it's going, I think the physical state that they're in, like we can see that Novak is not maybe like 100%, but probably he's going to be okay enough to play at least until
Ooh.
the end of this, no matter how long it takes. And he's hitting some sensational forehands now.
That was a sensational forehand. That was the kind of forehand he was missing before. He just sort of leaned back and just hit it up the line. Again, aggressive, assertive from Djokovic. Hasn't been doing that yet. Is he going to put Sinner under pressure in this next service game? Also, Damien, it looks like Nurlan is very jealous that you went for a long walk without him. He was so looking forward to holding hands with you.
It was alone, Nurlan, yes. I've been walking a lot more.
Oh my word, Djokovic is dictating. He's moving Sinner from side to side with his forehand. Oh, he just dinks that back at Sinner, and that was just so cheeky. That volley from Djokovic. It's love 30, and this is completely flipped. Well, let's see if it may not completely flipped, but Djokovic is most of the way to flipping the script in this set, and he's just fired up again. Like, he's woken up, which is... Yeah, I mean, look, going to sleep for 2 sets against the world number 1 and someone you've had a nightmare trying to beat in your last few matches against him is a risky strategy. But hey, we're here for it. Let's see if Sinner can get this next point. Misses the first serve. I think that the stats this set's going to be very, very odd. Crowd's going to be cheering Novak on for this comeback. Love 30. Second serve, Sinner. Djokovic goes for the backhand. Backhand, Sinner to the Djokovic forehand up the line. They're trading up the line. Now we've got Djokovic inside out forehand. Sinner goes up the line with his backhand. Winner, 15-30. Kind of had the open court to play with that one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that kind of a game, love free, you want to go for a bit more. So good that he's doing that with a couple of super aggressive forehands. The movement does not seem fine. And that kind of opened up the way for Sinner in that previous point.
Okay, 15-30. What's Djokovic got here? He looks dialed in. Backhand in play. Forehand, Sinner tries to go back behind Djokovic. Djokovic is there with the backhand cross court. Trading cross courts now. Djokovic goes, oh, he tried to go kind of center of the court, puts it in the net. It's 30-all. This is kind of resetting a bit for Djokovic. There we go. 30-all. Maybe Djokovic a bit frustrated that backhand didn't make it over the net because he had the advantage in that point. He definitely seemed up in the rally. 30-all. Sinner about to try and deliver a first serve. Misses it. Second serve coming up. 30-all second serve. Fewer tense moments than second serve at 30-all. Back forehand in play. Drop shot from Sinner is in the net. Was nowhere near going over the net. It's 30-40. It's a break point for a double break for Novak Djokovic. That was a bit of a brain fade from Sinner on that one.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to like trust the idea. You know, he got it in his mind. Yeah, sure, he went for it, but it didn't seem like he had much confidence in it working out.
If Sinner can find his first serve, he needs to find it now. 30-40. Love 3 in the third. Finds the first serve. Djokovic blocks it into play. Forehand. Sinner's going to come in behind. He's got an overhead coming up. Djokovic has got a sky ball. Sinner's going to put the overhead the other direction to where Djokovic is, and it's deuce.
Definitely change it up, Nurlan. That's it would be way too boring. I have a great like sort of like the area around my house is fantastic for walking, running, everything. So there's just 1,000 of routes next to the sea. There's a lot of hills as well. So definitely changing it up.
Damien living not in deepest, darkest Poland, as the rumor suggested, but actually in a
Today it is actually deepest, darkest, to be honest. It's awful outside my window. It was raining a little as well when I was walking, but it is what it is.
It's nothing like the 30-degree heat we've been getting here in the UK.
Definitely not today. I mean, last week, more or less, every single day was like Wimbledon, but not today.
Yeah. By the way, it's about sort of 88 Fahrenheit for those of you who don't do Celsius. Forehand Djokovic inside out long, and he's frustrated with himself for missing that. And, you know, let's hope that Djokovic doesn't get too in his head about missing the opportunities to get this double break against Sinner. It's not over yet. Could still manage to get this next point, but Sinner now has advantage going into going into this point. So let's see if Sinner can get himself out of trouble here. Delivers the first serve out wide. Djokovic gets it back in play. Forehand Sinner middle. Forehand Djokovic cross court. Sinner puts his forehand into the net. This game does keep going. It's deuce. And again, Djokovic is getting the ball a lot deeper, rushing Sinner a little bit more. And Sinner is just not getting the purchase that he was before.
Yeah, I doubt we were seeing a lot of errors like this in the first 2 sets. I mean, he's just kind of crumbling Sinner, but maybe if he fights through this game, then who knows?
Yes. Sinner does want to try and restart his set. I don't think he wants to go 4 if he can help it. I think he was probably quite looking forward to being something relatively simple ahead of playing Alcaraz in the finals. An ace, or practically, it was an unreturnable serve, technically, from Jannik Sinner. And there's a return to the kind of serving that we were seeing from him from before this set started. Remember, this is only his second service game this set, and he's been struggling this set. And I mean just this set on serve, because the rest of the time he has been absolutely fine. Barely touched by Novak on serve the first 2 sets. What's he going to do here? Goes up wide with the first serve. Djokovic gets that backhand over the baseline. Sinner holds 3-1. Djokovic disappointed not to go up a double break. Sinner relieved to hold.
Yeah, pretty massive game coming up, to be honest. I mean, Sinner got a lot of momentum from that last one, 6 minutes. Maybe this is like enough for him to kind of get calmer again. We'll see.
Yeah. I would imagine you've been watching challenges today, Damien, but do you have any thoughts on the Alcaraz-Fritz result from?
I only watched the 4th set tiebreak, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Taylor obviously was in it. There was that 4-all backhand down the line that was pretty special. 6-4, I think he puts in like great serve in. It's really 95% of the time this is a point that he just wins instantly. He doesn't, and then on the next 2 he definitely got a bit more tight. Just had a couple of these like forehand middle of the court approaches that usually he would have made. Like, okay, first one he missed, and the second was just like an easier pass for Alcaraz. But yeah, there was some tightness in there. Certainly a bit unlucky not to go 5. We all know what sort of record Carlos has in 5th sets, but it's still grass. It's still a 5th set. I mean, just get 1 break and maybe it's done. 1 bad game from Alcaraz and it might be done. So a little unlucky not to go 5. We'll see if it's impactful on Sunday, kind of like whether, the fact that Alcaraz didn't go 5 today.
Yeah, definitely fortunate. I do think Fritz stole the second set. Alcaraz has a bit of a dip, but Alcaraz definitely stole the 4th from Fritz. That was probably going 5 otherwise. Yeah, I agree with the Alcaraz's 5-set record. He still would have been the heavy favourite to come through. It did feel like Taylor Fritz was throwing everything he had at Alcaraz, and it just wasn't enough. Djokovic got the short ball to try and put away. Now he's going to try the overhead. Oh, he puts it on his side of the net.
Yeah.
15-30. Break back. Danger time for Djokovic.
This was a tough one to watch. Yeah, at 15-all, he does that. I don't know.
Yeah, that was...
On the first point on the second serve, he also went like so aggressively. I wonder if he's going to keep doing this.
I don't know. He knows he's been getting results by going more aggressive. That's the thing. He knows he has to. 15-30. Like being passive has got him nowhere against Jannik Sinner in the first 2 sets. He can't just rely on his serve. I think he was maybe hoping for tie breaks and then upping the intensity there, but Sinner didn't make that an option. Second serve coming up for Novak Djokovic. Sinner did take a tumble at 15-all, and that was one of the reasons why he didn't get that ball in the play. Backhand from Sinner in play. Backhand up the middle for Djokovic. Forehand Sinner cross court. Forehand cross court for Djokovic into the net. 15-40 under pressure, and Sinner is waking back up again.
I mean, it's again Djokovic stumbling a lot, though, right? On that last forehand, just almost on the floor.
He's not been the surest of footed. That is short. This match. To an extent, even this Wimbledon, but definitely this match. 15-40. Djokovic, can he get out of this game? He's going to have to do it on second serve, and he's vulnerable on second serve. Didn't win any points on second serve in the second set. Barely any in the first. This is not what he needs right now. Second serve for Jannik Sinner to have a go at. He gets it in play. Drop shot from Djokovic. Doesn't clear the net. Nowhere near clearing the net. We're back on serve at 3-2.
Yeah, might be a death sentence. The volley at 15-all, a couple of points maybe that also could have gone the other way. But yeah, he's not moving.
It was not a clean
100%
game from
either.
Djokovic, and he's having words with his box, and he's definitely frustrated about that.
Yeah, he's not moving 100% either.
And that's probably down to whatever treatment he's having on it, like his thigh, his hip.
I think so, yeah.
Probably causing him problems.
Nurlan, sure. Yeah, I can be a shoulder to cry on for Nick, but I do think Iga is the favorite, so maybe there will be no need for that.
I think there's a lot of us. I don't think Iga is as big a favorite as everyone says she is, but if you're kind of if you're making a head-based decision and just doing the assessment of likelihoods, she has to be. I do think Anna Samova has been playing world-class tennis this tournament, though. Very, very impressed with what she's been doing. But it is interesting.
There's like nothing that Amanda has to like fear of in terms of just ball striking quality against any opponent in the world. Iga's just, a lot more experienced, probably a bit more versatile as well. Has been amazing this fortnight. Finally got her grass game in check.
Speaking of amazing, did you see that forehand from Novak?
Yeah.
He's woken back up. He's
determined. There's a lot of waking and awake. There's a lot of going to sleep and awaking during this stream so far.
Yeah, he's definitely coming in and out a bit, Djokovic, and that's just in this third set, to be honest. But he's doing much better this set compared to the other two, putting the Sinner serve under pressure, getting points on that Sinner serve. Like he really wasn't in set
I think it was like 5 or 6 in the first 2 sets, right? Something like that.
Pretty much, yeah, and 2 of them were in one game. Here we go. First serve from Sinner off the left. Inside in from Sinner. Cross court from Djokovic. Sinner goes up the line. Djokovic is there with the backhand cross court. Sinner's there with his backhand. Djokovic is there with his forehand. Goes back to the Sinner backhand, who goes up the middle of the court. Backhand Djokovic. It's kind of a neutral rally at the moment. Trading backhands. Djokovic goes to go inside out on the backhand. Misses it completely. 15-all.
Yeah, 2-1 seems okay, Drew. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things I just don't want to get. Things do suggest that it's more likely to be Iga. But there's also a big part of me that would quite like to see Amanda Anisimova winning a Grand Slam.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I'm all for it. Amanda should probably have a slam somewhere in her career. 2019, she already made a semi. Was such an amazing prospect, and then of course the years of injuries, also mental health issues. So to see her kind of like finally make that step, I think that's great, and hopefully there's more to come. She's always had the talent, just never really played a full season in the last few years.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things, like the WTA is so competitive, there's never any guarantees, but if she does lose tomorrow, then I would like to see her have at least one more shot at a Grand Slam.
Oh yeah. A lot of time left. I think they're both same birth year.
They are the same age, yeah.
Yeah.
Which helps. I think Amanda might be a little bit younger, actually, but only by a few months.
Both 2001, and they played in that 2016 Fed Cup, Junior Fed Cup.
Speaking of players born in 2001, Jannik Sinner has been writing things in this game. 40-15, smacks the forehand into the corner, and he's looking good right now to hold serve, and this would be his most comfortable hold of the set so far. It does feel like normal service might be about to resume. Goes out wide with the serve. Djokovic gets it back in play, but does not bother to run back into the court as Sinner just places the backhand in the middle of the court and gets the game. 3-all.
2001 crowd is having quite a slam then. I think Rinki Hijikata might be 2001 as well. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would fit. don't think he's winning that one, though. I think it is going to be the Brits. I think
Yeah. But then again, I mean, all of the matches during this event, he probably kind of, was not the favorite, and somehow he's still alive. So
have been the real underdog story of the tournament. So yeah, we've got 15 love. Djokovic kind of playing pretty well to get that first point. He is going to want to try and still play his best set of the match so far. Going forehand to forehand. So it says play the forehand cross court to the open court. Djokovic scoops it into play, but he's again well out of court, and Sinner places the forehand in there.
To your previous question, though, I don't think this will be a match that will tell Novak, okay, I cannot be competitive against these guys, because he's just not moving close to 100% at all. So
exactly, yeah, I think
it's easy to just say, okay, yeah, if I was 100%, maybe this is different, because maybe it would be.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think that's kind of alluding to something I said earlier. With if he is, I think if this was a Novak who didn't have any niggles or like anything like significant that he needed treatment for, different story. But he can justify.
I just assume we get at least a tie break. Yeah, something that's going to be pretty close. But
Snehel, to answer your question, yes, I do have favourites, but I also think that there's so many great stories on the WTA tour. I'm always happy for most players if they win, especially if it's a breakthrough moment. But sometimes you do have a preferred story. I'm not one of those people whose world collapses when their player loses. Speaking of things collapsing, Novak Djokovic just put a backhand volley into the net and is now break points down, and Sinner might be about to really take full control of this match here.
Yeah, maybe if he takes that fourth game when he had some chances, right? Or like love 30, but still, I mean, Novak is just not winning this in the long run moving like that. I don't think so.
No, great return from Sinner right at Novak's feet. Djokovic puts that in the net, and it's 4-3 Sinner with a break as they change ends. Yeah, this is not looking good. I think if Djokovic had got that double break, he would have been very motivated to get the set. Maybe Sinner gets one of the breaks back. But it's very clear that Djokovic lost a bit of motivation after losing that break, after not breaking Sinner in that 4-love game. And then he kind of started letting things get to him again. And which is, again, strange for someone who's as mentally tough as Novak's reputation was, particularly in his prime. It's strange to see.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of kamikaze and rushing this game, so it just doesn't seem like he has much left to give today. Unfortunate, but yeah, I definitely don't think he's 100% at all.
Ghosty, I've never been unhappy with someone who's won a slam. I think I'll be diplomatic in the answer. There are probably players out there that I would be less than happy.
That's a good question, actually. But I think on the ATP side, we really haven't had any like random winners at all in the last 20 years. So why would I be unhappy when it's like quality players left and right? And then
exactly.
The women's, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I can't think of anyone right now.
No, I think there's one player that a lot of people don't like when he wins on the men's side. But
yeah, but it's, I mean, I'm very much like, I don't care about personality and off-court stuff. I'm just thinking like, did we have only quality winners in terms of their games? Yeah, sure. And I don't really see anyone on the women's either. Like, even if it's Raducanu or Krejcikova, and they are kind of randomly doing it, they still show a lot of quality during the fortnight. So there hasn't been anyone that's kind of like lucked into winning a slam title, if that's even possible.
Yeah, I don't think it is possible to luck into it. I've never watched anyone, men's or women's, and gone, how did that player win? Like there is some quality in their game somewhere. So great shot from Djokovic on the return. Since got the inside out backhand, Djokovic. Now we've got 400 cross court from Djokovic. Out 15-all. He was kind of in that rally, I think, Dane. But yeah, going back to that. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't think of anyone I'm like, ugh, that person shouldn't have won because they play like that.
Maybe that happened like 20 or 30 years ago. I don't know, but since I've started watching, or since I know the players, as good as I can, then yeah, I think we've only really had quality winners, even if their entire careers might not be as good that their form during the fortnight was. So definitely haven't had. I wonder what I would say if Taylor Fritz won the US Open last year. But let's leave it for another day.
Yeah, that's that another time. Maybe if Taylor Fritz actually wins the US Open this year. Ace from Sinner, 40-15, in time for Vanch to join us.
guys.
Vanch, wasn't expecting you. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
So, have you managed to catch any of this match up to this point?
I have, yeah. I've definitely been watching it. It hasn't been the kind of more competitive match we were maybe hoping for going in. I don't know what you guys think.
There was definitely some hope in this third set. At 3 love points for 4 love. Oh, backhand from Sinner. Good.
Yeah, I mean, Sinner's been playing well, but it's just that Djokovic has looked really hampered and in pain for a lot of this match. And perhaps it's the fall that he had against Kabuli, maybe, but also just, yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame because I definitely think Sinner was the favorite going in. I definitely expected Sinner to come out on top. Probably I was expecting a tight 4-set match, but just given Djokovic's physical state, I think it just looks very ominous for him to try to win neutral points against Jannik.
Do you think that physical problem is one of the reasons why he's really struggling to defend behind the second serve at the moment?
I think so, because when he's pushed in the corners and when he's having to push off and go wide, especially on both sides, he's not been able to recover back to the middle fast enough. And so that's been the key for Jannik to just, pepper the corners and just feel like he doesn't have to play, so close to the lines. He can just kind of spread the court and then find the opening, and it's made it a little bit easier for him, I think, to finish points.
Sinner does not finish that point, though. He had a passing shot potentially lined up, and it hits the top of the net and comes back his side. 30-15. So Djokovic is still hoping to make this the most competitive set in terms of number of games won by him. Let's see if he gets it well out from that first.
I think 30-15 point is a good example. Like, you just see Djokovic stop there, and he's not quite quick enough to recover back to the middle, and then doesn't really even bother chasing that down. So I feel like there's been a lot of points like that where he hasn't.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's just, he knows he's gone. It happens a lot with that 30-all. We're potentially 2 points away from the end of this match. 30-all. Let's see if we can talk through this game and see what happens here. Djokovic delivers the first serve into the net. Another second serve to defend behind. And frankly, this is not going his way. Will this be 6 games in a row for Sinner? He gets the short ball to put away, goes right at Sinner, and then has no control of the follow-up volley. It is 30-40. It is match point for Sinner, who, if he gets this, will have won 6 games in a row against Novak Djokovic, which was not on my bingo card today. Match point coming up. 30-40. Djokovic, huge serve. Sinner doesn't get it back in court, and it's 1 match point saved. Deuce. That serve has come good for him sometimes, Damien.
Sorry?
I say the serve has come good for him sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, still he still might be about to lose a 6th game in a row. But yeah, what Vanch said about the second serve and everything, I mean, if he starts the rally from a comfortable position, then yeah, he's mostly fine. But the moment he's like pushed laterally, it's difficult. So obviously on serve it will be a little bit easier for him to get these advantageous starts. But
done it again. He's saved another match point with an ace. So
yeah, he's done well at least there. He's hit like 11 aces. It's been.
He saved a few set
right.
points with aces as well, I think, or break points with aces as well. He just can't keep up the serving that he needs to keep the points super short. Oh, great bit of serve volley there from Djokovic. Had to play with an incredible angle, just about clips the line. Advantage Djokovic. Absolutely loving it. Okay, it was a bit more outside the line than I thought. Okay,
Yeah, he
next
does hold
serve.
at least. So
Yeah, let's see if
to
it's
see if
second
he's able
serve.
to put any pressure on the what looks like will most likely be the final center service game, but you never know. I mean, he has managed to break once this set.
Yeah, on return serve. Djokovic coming for the volley. Sinner's going to have to finish this off on his serve. Did you want to... Vanch, I'll let you answer Nerland's question from earlier. Like, what's your pick for the women's final tomorrow, and like in terms of percentages? Like, he's going Anisimova 67-37. 33.
Yeah,
37-33.
He likes to. He likes to.
Oh, he went
challenge us when it comes
Anisimova
to-
67-33. Oh,
Yeah, Nerland's gone for
Oh.
Anisimova.
Yeah, I think he knows. I mean, I think I would probably go the exact opposite, really.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I
everybody
thought
has been saying in the chat as well. Yeah, other than
Yeah,
Nurlan, but Nurlan is of course the oracle.
Yeah,
I am
I think it's
60-43.
going to be fascinating.
What was that, Vanch? Sorry to talk over you.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, the women's final should be still an intriguing watch, just given that it's Anisimova's first major final. Iga has so much more experience, but also, Anisimova has some weapons that I think can really make it a difficult challenge. It does also help that Iga has played some big hitters already in this tournament and fended them off nicely with, Towson and Collins and Samsonova. Obviously, Anisimova is just such a good flat ball striker, and I think the serve and return is really going to be absolutely key in that one. But I do think we'll see at least one tight set.
Probably. Well, okay, that's all that's done for the women's final, I think, because we'll probably need to gear up and focus on the men's final after this game. Let's see if Sinner can close this out. Backhand up the middle of the court to the Djokovic sliced forehand. Sinner goes for the up line with the forehand. Backhand Djokovic right towards Sinner up the line, and it's 15-love, and Sinner is now 3 points away. And yet again, Sinner moving Djokovic round is not is really working for him. Djokovic again just not able to drive through the legs like he wants to. 15-love for Jannik Sinner.
We're so used to seeing Djokovic be so good at sliding on the grass, right? And then recovering his footing back to the middle really quickly. But it feels like today he's just slided and then stayed in the corner, hasn't been able to push off. So that's been difficult for him.
Second serve
really
coming up for
control.
Second serve coming up for Sinner. We'll probably have to repeat a lot of these points after the match because we'll probably need to make sure it's there for kind of the match summary that we release afterwards. Djokovic has got long over the baseline. 30-love. Jannik Sinner is 2 points away from his first Wimbledon final, which is crazy to think, given Sinner shouldn't be that bad on grass. But then again, Novak Djokovic has stood in his way too often in the past, but now it looks like he's finally going to avenge some of those Wimbledon defeats. Great serve from Sinner to set up 3 match points at 40-love. 3 match points.
Well, it's also only the second time, the second Wimbledon since Sinner became a real top player. So
yeah. I wasn't really thinking about the Medvedev incident last year, but 40-love against Sinner. Great first serve. Djokovic gets it back in play. Sinner puts the forehand into the net. That was actually quite a good return from Djokovic. Absolutely. One last roll the dice on the forehand return from Novak Djokovic there. Shouldn't bother Sinner too much, but this is going to be his 4th match point because I forgot he had a couple of match points in the previous Djokovic service game.
Doesn't bother moving there.
No. 40-15. Yeah. See what you get on my screen, and First serve out wide. Djokovic scrambles it. He's out of court. Sinner just places the ball in court. Djokovic gives up. And Sinner is into the Wimbledon final. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the stat that I had in my head for the whole match. This will be the first Wimbledon final since 2017 not to feature Novak Djokovic. What a moment in Wimbledon history. The British fans will have, not someone new, but at least one new person to take on Carlos Alcaraz in the final. They're very used to Carlos Alcaraz already. But this might be, the beginning of end has been sort of, when has that started? It's probably already started, but yeah, we'll come to you first, Damien. How would you summarize? I appreciate you've only watched the third set, but how would you summarize what you've seen today?
Honestly, it was not a match. I mean, Novak was clearly bothered by that hip/thigh issue, perhaps from that fall against Koboli, perhaps, something different. I don't know. We will probably know soon when he has his press conference and everything. But yeah, he needs absolutely everything right now to combat Sinner Alcaraz. He just needs all the potential percentages. And moving like this, it just wasn't possible. Even when he went up 3-love in the third set, I mean, we very clearly saw that once Jannik just gets slightly calmer again, just basically gets back into his range, starts pushing Novak around the court once more. It's tough. The lateral movement is just nowhere near where it has to be. We basically saw some sort of half tanking later on from Novak as well, who was, just clearly trying to end points early. Had that whole game of pretty much kamikaze net rushing, and yeah, he just wasn't fit enough to compete with somebody like that today. If this was another opponent on the other side of the net, maybe we'd be watching a fifth set right now and just, I don't know, a completely wild match where you can see that Novak isn't at his best, but he's serving incredibly well and he's surviving somehow, but not against Sinner.
Yeah, no real chance of that. Vance, do you have anything to add to that? I think you've kind of been saying something similar over the course of watching this match.
Yeah, for Djokovic to have any chance today, he had to be 100% fit. And so being 85% fit or whatever the percentage is, against a guy who, is on average hitting the ball 5 to 10 miles per hour faster than you off both wings and moving better than you, it's just going to be really, really difficult for Djokovic to win those kind of neutral rally exchanges or even get the first strike in when, he's just being forced into the corners and not quite able to recover his position for most of the match. So, he definitely did try a few things. He definitely tried just gambling on a few returns when he was stretched out, just going big on forehand returns down the middle. I think that was something he tried to do that actually helped him get the break. But it just didn't feel like it was sustainable. And Djokovic is not used to playing that kind of brand of tennis over the course of 2, 3, 4 sets against his biggest rivals when he's in this kind of a physical state. It's just too difficult to expect. Obviously, Sinner was pretty good. He took care of his business, but at this point, he played the kind of tennis he's been playing for the last year and a half, just ruthless, consistent, high margin baseline tennis, and great serving, and it was good enough. And Djokovic is still good enough to continually reach major semifinals, but now this is becoming a repeated pattern for him, where he's finding himself, whether it's a fall or it's a thigh issue or it's, last year at Wimbledon coming off of the meniscus tear, things like this, it just sort of catches up to him. And then, later rounds in tournaments, you can see, even in Australia, he had one of his best wins against Alcaraz, but then he had nothing left really. And so I think that's kind of the pattern is, how long is Novak going to be able to keep doing this to himself in terms of his body and sort of his motivation to keep on striving for that fifth slam? Because you can look at it both ways. So it'll be interesting to see, what his thoughts are after the match.
Yeah, I think that press conference is going to be there's going to be a lot of things paying attention to what he says there. And yeah, for him being in this physical state, as you say, this was the worst opponent he could have faced, especially someone who is so powerful off the ground, able to just strike the ball so well. And I will say this about Jannik Sinner. He served incredibly well. He didn't hold back on trying to serve aces, on going as big as possible, especially for the first couple of sets, maybe dipped a little bit in the beginning of the third. But I do have to say that this match and the previous match, to me, Jannik Sinner, particularly on serve, has been absolutely brutal. I don't know if that's something that you, Damien, would sort of agree with.
I mean, I don't think this match today kind of. I don't think it should be looked at it through this lens. You know, against Shelton, it's probably way more important that simply like the quality of their returns and their baseline games are very, very different. On serve, they can kind of match each other, but everything else, I mean, it just makes the margins, the slim margins on grass, go into Jannik's favor. Today, I mean, yeah, sure, Jannik has been serving extremely well for the past 2 years or so, but today he just had an unfit opponent who was not able to compete with that. You know, if he served 2% worse today, I don't think the outcome changes almost at all.
Okay, let's start looking ahead then to that final that we've now set up. It's the third big tournament in a row, Rome, Roland Garros, and now Wimbledon, with an Alcaraz Sinner final. And yeah, Vanch, let's discuss where do we see Sinner at going into this final, because he still can't beat Carlos, and this does feel like he's going into Carlos's backyard, maybe more so than Roland Garros.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they just played like an absolute epic, one of the best matches of all time. And then, now, coming into this Wimbledon final, obviously there were a few questions about Jannik, in the fourth round against Dimitrov, and where his physical state was that. I think he's answered those questions, and he looks in great shape. He looks well rested. He looks ready for another great battle, and I think it's going to be another really awesome final. I think, it's come what we expect from these two. Every time they play each other, it's basically come down to really slim margins. Carlos has won the last 5, and he's been just on another level on the really big points in the tie breaks. And obviously, what I'm curious to see is how much of what we saw at RG is going to be applicable here, or it's just totally different on grass. When it comes to, is Sinner going to be able to get the first strike in on return and hurt Carlos more when he's not hitting his spots? And is Alcaraz going to continue to serve as great as he has? Is Sinner going to be able to keep his first serve percentage really high in those big spots in the tie breaks, which he actually hasn't managed to do that well. He hasn't managed to serve over 60% in most of their last 5 matches. So I'm curious about those from an X's and O's standpoint, what the serve and return dynamic looks like, and how, because I mean, when they played each other 3 years ago, then Carlos could not move as well as they could on grass at that point. So he just looked rushed the whole time for 4 sets. But this obviously is just going to be much more evenly matched, and I think we're in for a really good one. I obviously would give a slight edge to Carlos just based on the win streak that he's on, just based on how comfortable he looks moving on the surface, and just kind of the intangibles and extra variety and his 5-set record, and just you can point to so many things. But it should be an absolute other epic.
Damien, anything you want to add to that? Those sort of the dynamics you're expecting to see in this final?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think it will be as good as at Roland Garros, but, we were longing to get this matchup in a slam for a while, and now we get 2 in a row. They're obviously far and above among, anyone else on the tour. Jannik arrives a little untested, I would say. He had one opponent who was really pushing him, and that opponent just got injured in the first set. It wasn't like Jannik was finding some incredible response there. He also had this really haunting loss against Carlos at Roland Garros, obviously. I don't know if maybe that comes into play at some point. Nonetheless, I actually like his chances on grass a little bit more than I did on clay. He had just that velocity that he plays with on both wings. The serve seemingly should help him out a little. I don't know. I think all the factors that Vanch mentioned, they are definitely kind of more pointing towards Carlos, but I also kind of like never can forget that, well, the Roland Garros final, it was just back and forth. Jannik could have won it in like 5 different moments. it's not like we can say with full confidence that this time, no. I mean, clearly Carlos is going to win because he's got this mental edge built up. We will have to see how he deals with that. It's also 9-4 instead of 8-4. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's had a very good run against Jannik. Does that help? Maybe it hurts Jannik more than it helps Carlos, I think, to kind of like be calm in that match. But we've also seen Alcaraz arrive in the Sinner matchup so many times right now with like a very different focus, intensity than against other opponents. He knows that he cannot afford to be, have these dips and just kind of mess around. He knows that he has to be on it from the get-go. So he's done that, but obviously every single streak will end at some point. I think that might be it. But I do kind of wonder about Jannik simply because, yeah, he was tested by one opponent and that opponent did not go away. He didn't make that opponent go away. He just literally, the opponent got injured, and that's why he's still in the tournament. But it is a fantastic match for sure. It is the matchup that for the last, honestly, the second week of Wimbledon has been pretty awful. It's just been skip to the finals, because we all knew that this was going to be probably since Dimitrov retired. Sinner and Alcaraz. We pretty much knew what was going to happen and who was going to be in Sunday's final. The matches weren't even that interesting. So hopefully there's that big payoff like it was at Roland Garros. I don't think it can be as good, but needless to say, these are the best two players in the world right now. This is the biggest matchup in the world right now. And anytime we get it, it's a big win for tennis.
I mean, look, anytime we have an epic between a couple of players, the follow-up is never as exciting. If you look at Borg McEnroe, they had a 5-setter in 1980 at Wimbledon and then the US Open, and the US Open one is not talked about as much. I mentioned Graf Selash, that was a complete opposite of competitive in the follow-up at the Wimbledon. And then if you think about Nadal Federer, after Wimbledon 2008, I think their next match was 2009 Australian Open. And again, very good match, did not live up to the standard of Wimbledon 2008. I think that's probably what we're going to see here. I think it will be a good match. That back and forth that we see, those momentum shifts we see in an Alcaraz and Sinner match, those have always happened every time they've played. Even that Rome final they played, that first set was real back and forth. It was only the second set that was a little bit of a letdown. But other than that, yeah, I think they just sort of keep swapping sets whenever they play. And I'm expecting more of that. But yeah, I would agree with you that I don't think we should go in expecting another sort of crazy exchange of breaks, final set tie break in the fifth again. That's not you're inevitably going to be disappointed, but I think it will be a really exciting match, and it's tough to call. It is on Alcaraz at the moment, and this is his backyard. He's barely losing on grass. He's going for a third consecutive Wimbledon, but Sinner is the last person to beat him at Wimbledon, albeit they weren't quite the same players back then. That might be Sinner's last winner. Do you want to confirm on that, Vance or Damien, if that was the last time Sinner beat Alcaraz? Was Miami 23? No, Umag.
It was Beijing 2023.
No,
Beijing
I mean,
23.
there was Beijing as well. Umag would have been 22.
Yeah, wrong year.
Yeah, so basically, since Sinner has become Sinner, he hasn't managed to get over the line against Carlos, win the final point.
I do like what you were saying, though, Vance, about grass, because, yeah, I'm surprised that Sinner's not been more successful on grass than he has. Obviously, he has won that title in Halle now last year, because, yeah, the velocity that he has off both wings is pretty strong. On there, he keeps things fairly flat and low. Carlos's variety maybe works a bit better on grass because he can do the same thing. He can use it to his advantage. Yeah, I think we're in for a thriller, but I think with the way the matchup's going, with the surface, you do have to favour Carlos on paper right now. But I definitely think Sinner takes at least one set. I mean, Vance, do you want to? How are you seeing this one going? Do you want to put sort of a prediction out there?
I mean, definitely, I'm not going to say it's going to be like a repeat of the RG final in terms of just how unbelievably high quality and how dramatic that was. Like, it's just going to be unfair to put that expectation on these two every time they play. But I do think just how evenly matched sometimes they are off the ground, and just how how there's not that much separating them when they're both playing well at the same time. I do think we'll have a patch of that in this match that will just be really, really high quality. I would expect it to probably go the distance again. I think I'm going to say 5 sets again. I'll probably go Alcaraz in 5.
Yeah. Damien?
Honestly, gut feeling, Jannik is going to be very hard to handle for Carlos.
Oh.
But I'm like logic would kind of suggest that Alcaraz again just has the intangibles, has the slightly more versatile skill set. In fact, not slightly. Obviously has the mental edge as well. But yeah, all streaks come to an end. We will see Jannik beat Carlos Alcaraz in the future. I'm pretty sure about that. It will probably be quite soon as well. I mean, we'll probably see Carlos Alcaraz lose his winning streak as well very soon. And yeah, I mean, I am expecting this to be another massive, massive challenge, massive hill to climb for Alcaraz if he's going to claim another title. But is he the favorite? I mean, marginally.
He is definitely marginally the favourite. And that's why I'm also going to go with the Vanch and say Carlos in 5. I definitely think that it's going to be a massive treat for anyone watching this Wimbledon final coming up. And you're going to see some ball striking like we have just like at an incredible level. And I think everyone should be looking forward to this. Have played at Wimbledon before, but as I said, like that was pre either of them really coming into their own. Before either of them were Grand Slam champions. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I'm pretty excited for that. I think it looks like they're pretty locked in as well. Like Sinner's locked in since the Grigor scare. Carlos, he is dropping sets, but I don't think he's losing to. It was because he was losing sets to opponents who were playing pretty well to kind of steal some sets. So, yeah, I guess we'll find out. Any final thoughts on this match, or the match we just had with Djokovic, or the match that we've got look forward to with the final, Damien?
Yeah, in terms of unreal ball striking, I think it's also important to mention that Sia and Ostapenko are almost into a Wimbledon final. But now, yeah, I mean, Alcaraz and Sinner in terms of the final, I don't know if there's much more to say. Carlos obviously has been dropping sets a lot more and kind of maybe looking a little bit more shaky round to round, but that we know that this is fine for him. He did the same at Roland Garros. I just hope it's not like a massive disappointment compared to Roland Garros final, because it's obviously such a tough one to just match that. I think that it cannot be this good. If it is going to be the best match of all time again, then so be it. But it's still basically the ending to the tournament that everybody was hoping for, that I'm sure the organizers also had in mind. And this being the last match of the championships in 2025, it just really couldn't be any better. I will probably be watching the Challenger finals, but I promise I will be keeping an eye on this as well.
Vanch, I'm going to leave the last word to you. Final thoughts going into this?
I mean, this would be 3 Wimbledon titles in a row for Carlos. Of course, he would also be going for back-to-back natural surface slams, and back-to-back channel doubles.
I don't think.
Yeah, which, I mean, last year he was already the youngest ever, because he did it younger than Bjorn Borg, and now he'll be the youngest ever to do 2, I guess. He'd also have 6 slams already. Like, there's just a lot on the line historically, which Carlos will probably have to try to just forget about, because he's at a 24-match win streak. Obviously, he's trying to go for even more, and he's just been on a roll really since Monte Carlo, and I believe it's 33-1 now since the start of Monte Carlo, and 24 in a row since the start of Rome. So obviously he's just riding this incredible wave, and he's winning this would just put him in such great position to also probably finish the year number one or be pretty ahead in that race. So there's all those things obviously statistically and narrative wise, and for Sinner to get a win here would also be really massive. Then he would also be just one Roland Garros away from the career slam, and he would be 2 in a row against Alcaraz at Wimbledon, and so I guess it's also massive from that standpoint. But at some point, like Damien said, they're just so close at level, and Jannik is just way too good for Carlos to keep on beating him every single time. So it's going to be massively difficult in the final. And, like that Roland Garros final could have easily been straight sets for Sinner, 4 sets for Sinner, 5 sets for Sinner. Yeah. So it'll be fascinating to see if some of that comes into play again. Really big points. We can see Carlos pull off that kind of magic, or if we see Sinner really just stand up to him and shut the door. Because, it's from that standpoint, it should be absolutely epic.
I think that's what we should dwell on. It should be an absolute epic on Sunday. And if you're not excited by it, I don't know what will excite you. So we'll wrap that up there. We will be doing watch-alongs for both singles finals. Ghosty's getting me excited to go and watch women's doubles semi-finals happening right now. But yeah, we're going to be...
Who says we've been missing it, by the way, Ghosty? I am watching
it. So we've got watch-alongs happening for both. Women's final tomorrow, which will be 4 p.m. GMT, sort of 11 a.m. Eastern time. Same time for the men's final, when the players will be walking out on court. So if you want to enjoy the action with us, please tune in. And we look forward to having you along for what should be an absolutely brilliant ride. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I'll catch you on another stream, as will Damien and Vanch. Thanks for coming on, guys. I'll see you soon. In the meantime, take care and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.